All right. So Oshak says, good morning, Tiger. Hey, good morning. I'm glad you made it. So I'm going to go ahead. It's 11 o'clock on the dot right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So welcome to the long-awaited Chat Ninja Masterclass, how to close 3 to 5 sales per day through Messenger. And let me make sure, there we go. So I want to start off by saying, how many of you have thought this? How do I get my leads to absolutely love paying me money? I wish I could get behind the scenes look at how sales and chat are closed so I could properly implement that process into my own business. Or have you thought to yourself, I wish I could easily grow my monthly revenue? Or how do I easily transition from small talk into a sales conversation without being awkward or salesy? So who does this sound like? Does this sound like you? Drop something in the comments if this is you. I've heard a lot of you saying like, Tiger, I know how to start a conversation, but when it comes to actually transitioning over and start selling, I kind of fumble. I kind of go, I don't really know what to say. I don't really know what to do. And I don't want this to be weird. So I end up just kind of like being really nice and doing small talk forever. I see Chrissy say me. I see Stephanie says absolutely. Roman saying yes, yes, and yes. Yes. So that's what we're going to be going over today. But I want to say, and this straight off the top, it's not your fault. You've probably taken a lot of online sales courses, business courses, coaching courses, and trainings, but no one is actually really taking you by the hand and showing you exactly how to get results on your end. You've got a business and you can change people's lives, but no one's showing you how to like really properly present your offers in such a way that people end up buying for their reasons and not yours. So, you know, everyone seems to be kind of like just bragging online. You see screenshots of like, oh man, I just had $1 billion day. I'm amazing. And everybody just kind of like showing off instead of like showing you how to solve your problem so you can get the same type of results in your business. And you're losing the opportunity to build the business of your dreams. No one's really giving you like that blueprint on what to do, how to do it, so you can build the business you want and ultimately the life that you want. Now, what if you could say instead, I know exactly how to position my offers in such a way that they are irresistible to my ideal client. And after people buy, customers literally thank you afterwards. This was one experience that I had to kind of really get used to once I discovered this new way of selling. And like people end up giving me money and then they thank me. And it might feel once you start implementing this and you start getting these results, you are probably going to feel the same way that I did. Like you feel like you should be the one saying thank you, but obviously selling is a service. And you're going to be able to see that in the framework that I'm going to be breaking down for you today. Imagine also you could say, I know exactly how to move a person from a stranger. I just met them. I just became Facebook friends with them. I just got into a conversation with them. And I was able to take them to a paying client in just a single conversation. Or what if you were able to say, I have the exact process now and the scripts and the frameworks to turn anyone that's closable into a paying client with just that one chat conversation. Do you think that would help you make more money and be more confident? Let me know in the chat below. If this is something that you feel that if you were able to get these things, you were able to say these things about yourself and your business, is this something that you would, going into 2021, you'd be able to say like, I'm confident now. I'm able to make more money. I'm able to impact lives. I'm able to do the things that I need to do. So I see some comments. I see Katiana says, hi everyone. So she just showed up. Hey, Katiana. Lori says, yes, definitely yes, from Katiana. So that's why ultimately I created this Chat Ninja Masterclass so that you can start to make the impact that you desire. You can start to close those sales and not be awkward in transitioning from the small talk into your sales. So today, we don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to show you the complete formula for building a 100K plus coaching business, or how to get back, 10 to 20 hours per week of free time, or how to 10x your clients' results. That is something that I break down with my higher end clients, and we go deep in our coaching program to really nail down three different things. One is money. Being able, because we run a business, we love helping people. If most of us as coaches, that's what makes us drawn to being coaches. That makes us, we're service providers. We like to help, we like to impact, but we run businesses. We need to have money coming in, and we want to make that impact and freedom. But if you're missing any one of these key pieces, let's say you have impact and you have a whole bunch of free time, but you don't have money, you're going to burn out. You're going to end up hating your audience. You're going to end up hating the people that you serve, because you're going to feel overworked, and it's like nothing's really coming out. You're not being compensated. Or if you have the money and the freedom, or you have the money and the impact, but you don't have your freedom, you feel unfulfilled. Or if you have the freedom and the impact and no money, you're bankrupt. So all of these pieces are what needs to be in place, and it takes a framework. So the three key areas that you need to create a six-figure coaching business, a six-figure consulting expert-based business, is one, sales and marketing. So I'm going to be showing you the piece of the puzzle that's sales. But if you don't have an offer to sell, then this isn't the whole. You're going to need those pieces into place. This isn't a magic button. So I want to say that up front. Just because you attend this class doesn't mean all of a sudden people are just going to show up and start throwing thousands of dollars at you. Like, oh my God, did you attend the Chat Ninja Masterclass? Take my money. So there are different portions or pieces to the puzzle that you need to build out. Your delivery. So inside of delivery, you have your onboarding of clients. So once they pay you, once you've led them out of their comfort zone to take action, your fulfillment, how do you deliver that products? And then how do you continue on to sell them your higher end products? Your operations, how do you do the planning? How do you build out a team? Building out a team has been something that's been pivotal for me to be able to leverage myself, give myself that freedom. Systems and lead flow. So how do you get leads coming to you that you can sell? All of these things, I'm not going to really have time to show you today, but those are definitely pieces of the puzzle. And if you want those things, at the end of this training, you'll have the opportunity to discuss them with our coaching advisors when you book your clarity call at the end of the masterclass. So that'll be open. I'll explain what that is and how you can get help with that to put together a game plan so you can see what that would look like for you. So this is like the outline of right now. What I'm going to be showing you on the bottom is like a beta program. So $297 to $1997, a 6 to 8 week program. And this is what I help my clients build out, is going up these levels from a masterclass, these different price ranges. So from this Chat Ninja Masterclass, we're going to live here. Anything $2,000 or below, you're able to sell through chat. Anything $2,000 or above, you usually have to change the sales environment. So this is when you want to take a person to an actual call and you want to sell them. Like, things can be sold over $2,000. I've done it. I've sold things for like $4,000, $5,000 just through chat, but it's not the norm. It's not the typical thing. So this is the area we'll be working in. So a little bit about me, just really quick, because we didn't get on here to learn about my whole backstory and all this stuff. But I'm an entrepreneur business consultant. I mastered the ability to help coaches create profitable and highly impactful coaching programs. In 2016, that's the reason I'm in the Philippines right now. I ended up giving away everything I own to the poor and unfortunate. And I stepped out to find ultimately like my life purpose. And I found that it was helping experts like you step into your gifts and be able to impact the world. And I help coaches, myself and my team, to scale from 0 to 6 figure online. And I take pride in helping people create a life that outlives them. That's like my guiding, I guess, light, my motto, my legacy that I want to leave behind is that I help I help people who help people create lives that outlive them. And in essence, I hope that I create a life that outlives me by doing so. There's a few quick, I'm not going to go into it, but here's some testimonials of people lives I've been able to impact. And in turn, they've been able to impact the lives of many, many, many other people. And that's why I do what I do. This is Joel Vasquez. He might even be on the call right now. We helped him put together a beta launch program. So the first business that we helped set up for him together, we launched, scaled him up to 20K a month, and then he shifted into the coaching space. We put him together a beta program, selling for $2,000 or less. He did 6,000 in sales in just under a week, and grew his group by 100 members, without any type of paid ads. And so we scaled him up. And let's just kind of dive in. So I know what you guys came here for is how do we get these messenger sales? So why do we even want messenger sales? Number one, selling through messenger, selling through chat impacts your audience on a deep level by fixing a very specific problem in their life. So your products, your services, what you're selling actually is making impact. I like to make the example or always say that selling is a service. I know us as coaches, especially if you haven't been charging for your services before, you almost feel guilty. Like, man, I do this for free, or like, man, they shouldn't charge me. I'll just do it this. But you're really in a way cheating the people you're trying to serve. Because when people pay, they pay attention. When they invest, they have skin in the game, it becomes important to them. It causes them that sacrifice for them to step outside of their comfort zone and make the changes in their life. It helps you build also your buyers list. It builds trust in your niche, in your audience, in your marketplace, so that you make more money ultimately, and allows you to move quicker and impact even more lives. Because whereas sales calls, it takes an hour of your time, each person that you're talking to. However, in Messenger, you can have 20, 30 conversations going at once and be able to impact and make sales with all of these people. And you're able to bring in a lot more revenue a lot quicker with your time being leveraged. And it forces you to really understand your niche's pain points. And the way that I'm going to be teaching you is you really, it's a service. You really understand what is actually going on with your clients, what type of pain they're in, what type of desires they want. Because I don't want you to be a product pusher. You're not a product pusher. So I want you to get out of the mindset of like, I have this course, I have these bottles, I have this powder, I have these calls or whatever that I got to give to people. I got to convince them that this is so valuable. That's not what you're selling. So what I'm going to be showing you today is how to uncover the actual buying triggers that causes your leads to leapfrog over each other to buy. I'm going to show you how to sell any offer between $0 to $2,000 with ease and simplicity using just messenger chat. And I'm going to show you exactly how to follow up. I'm going to give you the scripts, the actual literal framework and scripts that I use I closed over $15,000 over the past week just through chat. And I'm going to be showing you exactly what I've been doing. I'm going to give you literally break down screenshots and show you actual conversations and explain and break down why I'm saying what I'm saying, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and the theory behind it, and how you can implement it and change it for whatever your offer is. I'm going to show you how to follow up so you don't get ghosted, how to handle objections when people don't buy, or if they have questions before they buy. And I'm going to show you how to track your conversations and leads so that you don't leave money on the table. Sometimes there's an extra, $10,000, $20,000, $100,000 out there just in the follow-up from people that would buy from you, but you fell off the radar. And because people are getting bombarded by other marketing messages and other programs, and they're in pain, they end up buying from someone else just simply because you didn't follow up. They didn't know that you were there anymore because they got distracted. So to start, I feel that before we get into the technique, what I have found that moved the needle for me the most is mindset. Because I'd say 80%, if not even more, of success is actually the way you see you, the way your paradigm about the world, your relationship with money. Like how you see you is the way you project out into the universe and in the world, and that's what gets reflected back to you. Some things that I found that were helpful for me when getting into sales, from when I wasn't making anything, I was frustrated and lost, to the point where I was making good money and making real results, is detaching myself from the end result. What do I mean by that? So there's something that you want. There's an end goal, whether it be to make money, whether it be to buy a new house, whether it be to retire your wife, your husband, or just to get that person to give you, like, to buy your thing. If you're focusing on, I got to get this person to get me that thing, it actually creates resistance. It makes it harder for you to get the thing. However, if you detach from the end result and focus on the process, things become easier, because I'm giving you a framework. And if you focus on following the framework, the results come as a result of it. And I recommend that you create a very strong, so I see a couple of chats popping up. So once again, I want to make sure I pointed this out. Yeah, she said, focus on the process and focus on the process, things become easier. If you have a question anytime during this presentation, I want you to go ahead and drop your question in the chat, or unmute yourself, and you can just be like, hold on, pause. Can I ask you a question about this? Because I do like back and forth interaction. I want you to get the most out of this training. And I'm not going to get off of here until every one of you feel confident. You got all your questions answered. You feel like you're like, I really have wrapped my mind around this, and I know how to take this from today, what we learned, and apply it in my business. So I'm gonna keep an eye out for that. And if not, if you just wanted to put it in the chat, drop it in the chat, ask me, and either I'll answer it right then, or if it's a question that can wait to the Q&A portion of the call today, then we'll answer it then. Or you could just unmute yourself, feel free. So creating a strong morning formula. To do that, what I do is I actually have a document that I revisit every day, and it has my vision, it has my vision statement, it has my goals, it has literal pictures of the things I want in my life, the things I'm working towards, to remind me, to keep my mind focused on the lead indicators. So I have here the lead versus lag indicators. What does that mean? A lead indicator, those are the things that lets you know, those are the milestones, the posts, the signs that let you know you're on the right path. You're doing the things that's getting you to your end result. Those things show up as, am I doing my morning formula? Are my inputs correct? Am I eating healthy? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I nurturing my relationships? Am I being whole? Am I doing the work that I know gets me the results? Am I connecting with my ideal client? Am I posting on my social media? Those are the process. The lag indicators are the things that you want. That's the money. That's the recognition. That's the impact. Those show up later. So if you're focusing on the lead indicators versus the lag indicators show up whenever you make sure that the lead indicators stay consistently in your life. So what you see right now on the screen is, this is something I feel that why most people don't become successful in entrepreneurship. Because in a 9-to-5 type of job, the results over time, the compensation over time, the money over time is more linear. You work for an hour, you get 1 unit of pay, whether it be $10, $20, $15, $100. Like 1 hour, you get that. And the next one, 2 hours, you get 2 units of those, 3 hours, and it goes up. However, with entrepreneurship, the growth always follows this type of curve. It's like exponential curve. So over time, you'll see it as this curve goes, it's really flat in the beginning. So over time in the beginning, the results are really low. It almost seems like nothing's happening. You might go out and take the framework I've given you right now, and some of you will go out and you're going to make a bunch of money right out of the gate. But some of you are going to feel this part of the line is going to be a little longer than some others. And you might be tempted to feel like this isn't working. But I want you to know this is the way that results actually show up in this type of online business entrepreneurship. And the reason why I feel a lot of people quit so soon, they quit in this early stages, is because the human mind, this is a graph of how our memory works. So our memory, the same way results become exponential, they build on each other and takes off. Our memory starts off really, really high, and it falls off really, really fast. If I asked you what you had for lunch or what you had for breakfast earlier today, your memory of it is really high because the time, not much time has passed. Now, if I were to roll out here in time and ask you, what did you have for breakfast 4 weeks ago on Sunday, you probably have no stinking clue, because our memories are really fallible, but we have the feeling that we can trust our memories because it's our memories. So what ends up happening is we end up having the crisscross of these types of groups. Our results show up slow in the beginning and take off in the end, but our memory is really high in the moment and falls off really fast at the end. So what you'll see is in the beginning, the results are low, but your memory of what you're doing is really high. So your mind will tell you, I was doing this thing and my results are low. I'm doing the thing, but my results are low. I'm doing the thing and the results are low. And a lot of people just stop right here in the beginning before they reach this takeoff point. And what I even noticed about myself is once results started showing up, my memory of the things I did to create them is really low. So it almost feels like an overnight success. The things I'm telling you right now, the things that you're doing today are going to be the things that cause it's going to pay you back in the future. But your memory of the conversation that you started, the connection that you made, will be so far out of your memory, and you will almost be like, what did I do different last month than this month that caused the results? And you'll feel like, man, I must have did something. You'll be tempted to change things. You'll be tempted to try and like veer from the plan. But this is why. I think this is why a lot of people failed. I just wanted to give you that. So like I said, I'm going to show you all the techniques for selling. But if your mind is fighting you and working against you, you know, it doesn't serve a purpose. Like I could teach I was a Marine, so I have to use like a military example. I could teach a Marine or a soldier, or you could teach a Marine or a soldier how to shoot a weapon, how to do combat techniques. But if his mindset isn't there to do the job, you could put him in front of a ton of people, a ton of enemies, and he wouldn't be able to perform and shoot that weapon accordingly. Why? Because his mindset causes him to freeze. It causes him not to do what he needs to do. So in the same way, your business, we need to get our mindset together. So that's why I harp on it so heavily. So once again, I'll just go back. It goes back to these things. I'm about to break down the steps in it, but this is just one piece of it. So this isn't a magic button. This is one piece of the whole for your six-figure coaching business. So let's go into why people buy in the first place. Number one, people buy because I have a chat here. So I see a question here. Let me stop really quick. Katiana says, what sort of routine do you need to have to generate leads and follow them through the sales? I'm going to show you here in a little bit. I'm going to show you the exact framework that I use to cause people to self-identify and come to me and want my services. So I'm going to break that down. It's going to be the actual framework I'm going to show you. She said, perfect. Okay, awesome. So people buy because they feel like it. And what do I mean by that? Not just kind of like, nah, I'll do what I want. People buy off of emotions. So the big mistake that I noticed that I was doing in the past, I've noticed that clients who weren't getting results versus the ones that were, one was trying to sell how many sessions or how long their program is or how many bonuses or how much it costs. And that's not why people buy. People buy because they have like a feeling of pain. They want to go away from their pain. This is why anybody does anything. They want to go away from pain towards pleasure. If right now you are going through a really bad, shaky time in your marriage, that's a pain. Now, if I were to present your pleasure, which is if you wanted to save your marriage, you know, you would, if I presented like, hey, you are right now, you're struggling in your marriage, you have like so much at stake, there's cost of inaction, you have mortgages, you have kids together, you have all this like memories and love and emotion and all these things that you have, you're standing to lose, and you feel the worry of it. You can't perform in your work and you can't perform at home, you can't think straight, you can't eat, you can't sleep, and you're in a ton of pain. Now imagine someone came by and they were like, I can help you get out of that. You feel that desire to be like, tell me about it. Like, if you could show me how you can really help me with this, like, I'll do anything. I'll what is your, it's also like, what is your marriage worth to you? What is your health worth to you? What is your business worth to you? Based on the feelings from the pain that they're in to their pleasure. If you look at, even if you work a job right now, your job only exists, your company only exists that you work for because it solves a problem in the marketplace. If there's no problem, there's no pain, there's no sale, there's no money to be made. And then understanding that people are going to buy in cycles. So you're going to go out there and you're going to talk to people, and not everyone is going to be ready to buy right up front. I'm going to show you a system for consistently following up in a way that is nurturing, in a way that causes to build trust, so that people buy in their cycle time. So some people are going to be, I'd say about 5% of the marketplace is going to be you're ready to buy now, about 5%. So that's enough to build a six-figure business just off that 5%. Now, what's going to make you wealthy is the 95% that are in learning mode when you first start talking to them and mapping out their pains, their desires, and creating the gap, which I'm going to explain all of this here in just 1 second. And they're going to, over time, become to know, like, and trust you, and end up getting your help to solve their problems. And their cycle is going to come up because, once again, people buy because they trust you. They know, like, and trust you. So one concept I want to map out, because people buy when they know, like, and trust, is what I call the buying pocket. So what do I mean by that? I kind of have a bit of an example conversation. This is from a sale that closed in chat for, I believe this was for $1,500. So right here, the part that I want to show you is when the person said, I'm in, you helped me dream bigger than 7K. Ultimately, they wanted to make 7K a month. I helped them aim higher, aim bigger. And they're like, and they trust. So I believe that you can help me. And I was like, let's do it. Boom, they bought it. So what I did, let me explain kind of what I mean by the buying pocket. So number one, you need a clear gap. So anytime that you're trying to sell anyone anything, whether it's in chat, whether it's in person, whether it's over the phone or anything, whether it's through a webinar, there is two states, a pain state and a pleasure state. Everyone walks around with a current self and ideal self. Everything that you do is based on that. And what ends up happening is you feel and you look at yourself right now and you go, this is my current state. Whether you're in a business and you're like, I'm not making what I want, what I really would like to. And you look out and you see other business entrepreneurs making what they want. Or you're like, man, I got a gut. I wish I had a six pack. So your current state is the pain state. The desired state is what you really wish there could be. Now, a lot of people have these two states undefined in their mind. They haven't really thought it all the way through. It's just lurking right below the surface. This is rumbling kind of thing. And what your conversation, as you're going through your conversation, you want to, I guess you can use the analogy of imagining a ball of yarn all tangled up, and your job is to go in and untangle the yarn. And what I mean by that is you're helping the person express for themselves where their pain is, where their current situation is, where they really want to go. And yes, to give them an epiphany. But the epiphany is that there's a gap. Because if the person ever feels like they can get from their hell to their heaven, from their pain to their pleasure on their own, maybe if they watch a few more YouTube videos, maybe if they try going harder on what it is that they're doing, they're not going to give you money. So it's like, kind of like, why would I give you thousands of dollars to help me do something I already feel I could do myself? So there needs to be a clear gap. Let me know if that made sense. I don't want to leave this part, and this is very, very, very important, because if you don't create a buying pocket for people, you don't create a gap between where they are right now and where they really want to be, they're not going to give you money. I'm going to show you how to do it, but I want to make sure that that part is understood. Okay, awesome. So, and the way you can create these is through doubt questions, confident boosters, using neutral language, staying in the doctor frame, and sufficient goals. So what I mean by this, so I'm gonna give an example. from some conversations I've had. So my offer is I help new coaches make it to six figures in a year. So 10K a month, 15K a month, 20K a month is my first end offer. So I take clients from beginning to that point for my first offer, my first program with them. And if, let's say I'm talking to them and I'm asking them questions about what their goals are, where they're paying. So right now they're in pain. They're making $0 a month. They're struggling. They want to get to 10K a month, or they want to get money. And I ask them, well, what's your goal? How much do you want to make? And they tell me, if I just made $1,000 a month, that would be awesome. Now imagine if my program is $10,000, $5,000. Now their goal, the gap is too small to fit my offer in. Because if in their mind, they're just trying to make $1,000 and I make an offer for, I'm going to help you make your goal of $1,000, my program's $10,000, they're like, I'm out. Because in their mind, they're like, all I want is $1,000 a month, but I have to pay you $10,000 to get $1,000 a month, I'm out. So you have to raise their goal. So down here, I have this little slight graph. I'm going into detail on it in a little bit. But down here, I have like an insecure, I have a confident. Or you can imagine like somebody feels like their goal is really small and they don't really believe that they can do it. They don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in the market. They don't believe in your process or anything like that. Or on the other end of the spectrum, they're super confident. They're like, oh, this is a cinch. It only take me like a little bit more. I can do this easy. I can do double that. They're too far. You don't want a person on either one of those extremes. Because if they're too insecure, i.e. if like you sell something that helps people lose weight and they feel like, oh, I can easily do that. I just need to do this really quick or stay a little bit more disciplined, or they're not going to buy from you because they feel, oh, if they're too confident and they're saying that like, oh, I can easily do that, they're not going to buy from you. And on the other hand, if they feel like I've tried a million times, I don't believe in myself. I mean, it sounds like amazing that you could do that, but I'm screwed up. Like nothing works for me. They're still not going to buy from you. So we have to create that pocket. This is also a part of the buying pocket. And you do this if they're overly confident, but you know, like if they don't need your services, you shouldn't be selling them your services. But if they're overconfident, but they don't realize like what they think, how close they think they are to their goal is not actually how close they are to their goal, you have to do them the service of getting them to see the reality of things without becoming combative or causing resistance. And those are usually through doubt questions, like just chunking down into, just chunking down into your actual details of a business. So let's say I was talking to a person and they said, yeah, 100%, everything's going great in my business. Man, like right now I'm not really making many sales, but I know like literally just quickly, man, I'm like, all I have to do is get out there and I'm gonna make, 100K a month. They're way on this blue side. They're way on the confident side. There's no way I'm gonna make a sale with that person, even though they don't realize how far away 100K a month really is if they're not making any sales right now. So I'd have to chunk down and go, well, how do you feel that you're going to do that? What's your actual plan? You go into the details. And if you question something enough, it causes doubt. If you just if I started asking you like, well, what did you have for breakfast, or what did you eat for breakfast last week or on Monday? And if you had an idea, you're like, I think I had like scrambled eggs and cereal. And you're like, are you sure? Because when I looked in there, and if I ask you another question, eventually, what I'm trying to say is eventually, if I start asking you enough, you'll start to wonder like, well, maybe I didn't. And what you've done is you started creating a gap. So if I start asking them, so what if that plan doesn't work out towards 10K a month? Like you said, you're going to do this and do this and do this. How confident on a scale of 1 to 10 are you in that? Why so? How so? And this starts to create that gap if someone's too confident. On the converse, the confident boosters, if someone is too insecure, like, yeah, I wish, I know I could probably help people, but I just really don't know what to do. And I probably can't do it. You're like, oh no, like you're really, like, I noticed when you said earlier that you're able to do this and this and this, like that's all it really takes. Like I've noticed that you're able to blah, blah, blah. So you're able to boost them away from the red. And all of this, you want to still take from something I call the doctor frame. So when you imagine a doctor, when you go into the doctor's office, the doctor doesn't immediately, when you walk in, go, hey, what's going on, Tiger? Like, it's good to see you. I had a rep come by and drop off some new meds that this pharmaceutical company just did. I got a great deal on it. I can totally prescribe that to you. Like, you probably like, whoa, doc, like, you don't even know what's wrong with me. How are you prescribing me like this thing? Because you just got this amazing new thing. And that's how a lot of people approach sales. They get this new offer, they build this new thing out, and before they even understand if their patient or their client or their lead even needs it, they're like, hey, I got this amazing new deal. It's 50% off in 5 seconds, and if you don't get it, and they're like, no, like, it's malpractice. So what you want to do is actually go into this is go, I need to diagnose their symptoms. What are they struggling with? Where are they at? What do they need? And once you're able to, like a doctor, to be neutral and objective about that person and their problems, and knowing if you can help that person, your product and service can actually help them and serve them, then you prescribe it like a doctor would. You prescribe your offer as like, all right, take 2 of these, call me in the morning, I should clear this up. Or join this program, that should solve your problem, because when you say like this and this and this is going to allow you to solve that. So I'm gonna go ahead, I see some, makes sense, awesome. So this is like that gap that I was explaining. So in the middle, you want to make sure they're not so insecure in themselves, the process, your program, your brand, and you don't want them overly confident that they can just do it without you and themselves. So instead of being too far here or too far there, you want them somewhere around here. You want them a little more than half, so they feel like, man, this is almost in reach, but I can't quite do it on my own. There's the gap. There's a little piece I'm missing. There's still a puzzle piece. So if they feel that the gap is too far, they give up hope. If they feel that the gap is way too close, they don't need you. So you want it just close enough to where it's just out of reach through your questioning. And it's more of an art that once you get out and you get working on this, it's going to become second nature. It's going to become something that you do without really having to think about it. And here are a few language patterns that I use to keep myself in doctor frame and keep resistance low. Because if you come in hot, I don't know if you've ever had this happen when people try to sell you stuff through chat or on the phone or whatever. If they come in and they're like, oh, hey, I'm super excited, like to talk to you, and I totally got some amazing things on that I'm launching and rolling out right now. How are you doing? What's the first thing you do? Your buyer resistance goes through the roof. Your skepticism jumps really, really high. It's because people don't really like being sold to. People don't really like having stuff like shoved on them. So you want to start to use these little bits. These are some that I use that I find very, very effective. And I'm going to show you them in some of my like actual conversations that close, and you'll be able to see it in action. But so when I'm asking questions, if I'm wondering if I wanted to like schedule a call, let's say you were using chat to schedule a call to sell something high ticket, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000. When you're approaching that, instead of saying, hey, you wanna schedule a call and I can talk to you about selling my program or jumping in my program, buyer resistance. Instead, you can say, well, hey, based on what you said, you said your pain is this. So based on what you said, you were struggling with this, and this. They want to go away from pain towards pleasure, and you really wanted to get to this and this and this. Your goals, your 10K a month, you want to retire your wife, but you said you really don't know exactly a game plan to do it. Would it be appropriate if we set a time to talk so that we could get you clarity on how to move forward and get to those things you said you wanted? Do you see how like, the resistance when that lands is way different than, hey man, if you want to make 10K a month, dude, just let's set up a call. Let's talk about it, man. I got this coaching program that we can really make something happen. Resistance. Or if you want to probe a little bit deeper, let's say you found, because you have to dig into the pain, you're the doctor, asking, I'm a bit curious. So I'm a bit curious. Earlier when you said that you and your husband were arguing a lot, what did you mean by that? Versus, hey, so you and your husband are arguing, but why? It's a lot more, it creates that resistance. Or if you were, instead of offering your solution right away, you can test for coachability by saying, if you were to find a solution that helped you get from A to B, is that something that, you know, you're looking to get into at the moment? So if you were to find a solution, so you're not saying, hey, so if I offered my solution to you, would you want it? If you were just to find a solution that helped with that, it's called a trial close. And you want to kind of lace these throughout your conversation. As people are saying their pain, you're kind of doing that. And another one is kind of an odd question, but so anytime you do this, it's weird. You can almost ask anybody anything. You can be the most personal type questions if you put these softeners in the beginning of it. I'm a little bit curious, or kind of an odd question, and just pre-framing your question with that allows people will open up and allow you to ask them all sorts of like deep questions to dive into their pain. And then mirroring back. Yeah. So, and then mirroring back what they say. So what this does is it builds rapport and trust. So if in chat you were talking and you're like, so what is it? What's your actual goal to in the next 6 months as far as with your business? And they're like, oh, I really would love to get to 10K and be able to quit my job. Okay, so what I hear you saying is that you're trying to find freedom, you know, by creating, you know, 10K a month and be able to move away from your job, right? I mean, that's a terrible kind of example, but you get what I mean. So when you mirror that back, and you don't have to mirror the full thing, even just the last few words, the main point of what they said creates that bond. It creates that type of rapport in between you and the other person. And it lets them know that you're listening. You're not just trying to sell them something. So here that I'm going to actually jump in now and give you the actual 5 steps of the framework. So number 1 is build rapport. We are social creatures, and we like to, because we're mammals, we're social creatures, we need like this kind of bonding. If you ever got with your friends and the first day that you see them, you're like, hey man, what's up, man? How you been? You're building rapport. Or hey girl, how you been? I ain't seen you in so long. You're building rapport. That's usually the first thing that you do. That's our natural human conversation. And then we go into what I call the discovery phase. I'm going to break these down even deeper. Discovery phase, responsibility and commitment, positioning the sale and objection handling, and then the follow-up. So I noticed you were asking about some mindset stuff as well. This is going to help you as well. This is what I call the 3 rules of selling. I want you to, if you have to like read these every day before you get into your sales conversations, just to ground you in these facts. These are always true. So here are the 3 rules. So number 1, your only job is to help the client make the best decision for them. Number 2, the best decision for them usually is outside of their comfort zone. Rule number 3, the client will fight like crazy, fight like heck to stay inside their comfort zone. So this is something that takes a lot of people out of the game, like mindset wise, is because they attach their identity to whether or not they make the sale, or they feel rejected if someone doesn't buy or someone doesn't buy right away. But if you ground yourself in these rules, that the client's job, your job is to get them to step out of their comfort zone, to lead them. Sales is leadership. Their job is to fight to stay in their comfort zone. That's why they're there in the first place. That's why they're stuck, is because they're comfortable with their pain. They're in the pain. They don't like it, but it's all they know. And to do something new and step into a new world, a new identity, is scary. It's outside of what they're comfortable with, what they know, and they're gonna fight you. You're gonna hear objections that sound crazy, like I gotta like, you know, wash the dog. I'll talk to you later. I got all these things, and it's because they're trying to stay in their comfort zone. They're scared, and it has nothing to do with whether or not your program is good, whether you're good, whether you can help or not. Their job is to do those things, and so the framework I'm going to be showing you is to use the human psychology in order to lead them out of their comfort zone, to be able to, I usually say sales is leadership, and sales is a transference of emotion and confidence. So they lack confidence to step out and do the things that they need to do. And through the sales process, you're able to allow them to borrow some of your confidence and motivation and certainty in order to make the leap out of their burning building, out of their burning city, into what they really want. So the first step in the framework is build rapport. You want to make sure that, I'm going to show you an example of this here, I think on the next slide. So you want to make sure that you're being human, because people buy from people, not necessarily bots. So if you seem like a marketing cyborg inside of Messenger on your calls, people, it immediately gives resistance. So you want people to see your human side. You want to build that rapport right away. And you want to keep the rapport short. So you don't want to be in Messenger having like a 30 replies back and forth, just talking about football and the game. You're going to end up in friend zone, and you can't really lead from friend zone. Remember, you're in doctor frame, and sales is leadership. So you want to build enough rapport so that they trust you and they know that you have their interests at heart, and you're not just trying to take advantage of them, but you don't want to go so deep into rapport that they don't value your influence or respect you as a person to lead them out of their problem. I know you've probably experienced having a friend where you give the best advice to them, literally best advice that they could do, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's great advice, thanks, Tiger, and they go on, they don't do anything with it. And then you'll hear in like 3 months, 6 months, they come to you like, dude, bro, listen, man, I was talking with so-and-so, or I hired this coach, and guess what they told me, man? Completely changed my whole life, blew my mind. They said blah, 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 bro. And you're like, wait, I told you that like 6 months ago. What? And you're thrown off. And it's because you're in friend zone with them. And you don't want to take things to that level with your clients, because it's hard to influence from that level. You want to make sure that you keep your personality in there. And you keep the conversation about rapport on them. So you don't necessarily want to jump in and start talking about yourself. People like to talk about themselves. So if you want an instant way to build rapport and to get people talking, is to ask them things about them, like notice things about their profile. Something I like to do is go over to the people's profile that I'm chatting with and find something interesting when I'm starting to open the conversation. I find something interesting about their profile, whether it be their family, pets, hobbies, something they got going on, and I'll open the conversation in that way. So it's like, oh man, you have beautiful kids. I might go over and heart some of their pictures, maybe make a few comments, and then open the conversation in Messenger. You have some beautiful family, ma'am or man, like your daughter, blah, 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 blah. Just open the conversation, and they're gonna, most likely, they're gonna be like, wow, man, yeah, thanks, man, that means a lot. Rapport. Do you have a family? Yeah, man, actually I have blah, 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 blah. Rapport. And then what you want to do is keep, like I said, keep that short, and you're not being overly excited. You don't want to come in hot, like, I'm super excited and blessed in the Lord today, and I know I got these amazing things I'm working on. In the background and people reject you. It feels it's too much. You want to match people kind of like where they are, where you're glad to meet them, you're friendly, you're open, but you're still being neutral and warm, open, friendly. And the kinesthetic, auditory, and visual, this is what I have here. What you're going to notice is as you're talking to people experience the world through all three of these, but predominantly they'll have one that they lean towards. Kinesthetic is like bodily motion. So like they experience the world through touch and feel and like gut feelings. Auditory obviously is through hearing, sound. Visual, they're through their sight. And what you'll notice is that you'll be able to tell really quickly if you pay attention to the words that they use. So when you're asking questions, you're talking to a person in chat, you'll notice that they'll use keywords like, man, I just wanted to get a real good eagle eye view of how everything works. Or, man, that really hit me like a ton of bricks. Or that sounds loud and clear, that rings loud and clear to me. Those kind of things cue you off to the type of the way that person sees the world, and I guess you could call it their sales language. So if you start speaking their language, it's instant rapport. So it's kind of like those love languages. If you ever read that book or heard about that, some people show their love through like giving gifts. And if you give them gifts, that ranks really high on their like scale of like, do you love me? But if you were to try to do like an act of service, you wash the dishes for them. Yeah, it's a nice thing, but it doesn't ring the bell like their love language. They like getting gifts. And when you give them gifts, that means you love them. Or some people like words of affection. And when you say nice things about them, that rings their bell. But if you bought them a gift, it's like, yeah, he buys me a lot of nice stuff, but I don't feel love. But he compliments you and tells you he appreciates you. You're like, oh my God, he loves me. It's just, they're speaking that language. So the same way in sales, they have their own language, the way they see the world. And if you start using some of their same key phrases, not overly using it because then it becomes obvious and awkward, but you start speaking in their language, they feel like you get them. Subconsciously, they're like, this person just really gets me. I don't know why. And then before you shift into the next phase, I call it the permission to ask questions. So you don't want to just, I mean, you can, I've done it successfully, but it works better if you ask for permission to ask questions. So you're doing a little bit of rapport, you're talking back and forth in Messenger, how's it going? How's your, how's this, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, well, hey, you want to move the conversation towards what your offer is. So if I was talking to a coach and I started off a conversation talking about their family, talking about their kids, I'm going to say, well, hey, look, I saw you were posting a lot of like motivational things and you have a lot of positivity. Are you a coach of some sort or what? So I want to ask a self-identifying question that causes the other person to self-identify as my ideal client, because then they're either going to tell me, oh, no, I'm not a coach. I see a question here. How long do you stay in the rapport stage? So I would stay in the rapport stage just only a few messages back and forth. You don't want to take this very long. I've literally done where I had one message of rapport. I sent a message that let them know I actually took the time to look at their profile and to notice something about them and open the conversation that way. They respond back. And then based on how they responded back, I found something in that reply that allowed me to transition and ask them a question that caused them to self-identify as a coach. That's my ideal client. Or if you were speaking someone that's trying to lose weight, I saw you posting recipes on your Facebook wall. I mean, it looks delicious. Are you kind of like going into starting a diet? Guess what? They'll be like, oh yeah, I've been trying to lose weight. They just self-identify. If your offer is like helping with weight loss, this person just showed you that they are. You successfully transitioned now from the rapport phase now into the next phase, the discovery phase. But before you completely make the shift, it's good practice to be like, okay, so you are starting to diet. Do you mind if I just, this is what I really love helping people with. It's one of my passions. You mind if, I ask you a few questions about it just so, I can help you get clarity or, whatever it is. So something I like to do. I see another question from Oshak. When you're responding to someone, how important is it to respond right away, or how much time is allowed to respond before responding? So with chat, this is one of the benefits of it versus like a call. You can stretch it out if you wanted to play the role of like high status, I'm busy, and you kind of reply back a little bit late. I found that just quickly having the conversation is more effective. But I've also gone back to conversations, which I'm going to show you in maybe the next slide or two. I've gone back to a conversation after like a week of we started the rapport and I didn't talk to them for almost like 5 days. And I came back like, hey, just saw your reply, and started the conversation back up, and then sold them for, I believe it was a $1,500 sale as well in that same conversation. So how are you getting to this person in the first place? I'm going to show that, Denise, here in just 1 second, exactly how I get people into conversations in the first place. So this is the rapport. Any questions here on building rapport? I wanted to show that. So permission to ask questions. This is a little hack that I use. So I have like training. So all of you should be producing content. If you're selling something, you should be producing content, value, things could benefit your ideal client. So when you're talking to someone and you get them to self-identify, i.e. in my case, they're a new coach. Like, yeah, I just started coaching and yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out. Okay, awesome. Well, look, I actually help new coaches and I actually have a bunch of private client trainings that I can gift you with that I believe would really help you on your journey. But you mind if I ask you a few questions just to see which one actually would make sense to send to you? Like which one would be a good fit for you? And then whenever they say yes, now I have a buy-in and I can ask them all the questions I need to, and it won't seem weird. Like, well, all of a sudden we're talking back and forth. I'm asking these questions. They're like, wait, why are you asking so many questions? Like, what's this about now? So, but if you get permission up front, that eliminates that. I saw another chat pop up. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be going over that here in just a little bit. So I wanted to go ahead and open up. This is an outbound. So this is me reaching out cold to someone I didn't know. I had just became friends with them. And I think I actually had this automated. So it automatically put their name in through software I'm going to show you. But it's like, hey, what's up? Thanks for connecting me with being here in Facebook. Took a quick peek at your profile, and I like what you have going on there. How's it going? Anyway, shoot me a message back when you get a chance. So it sounds human. It kind of captures my personality, a little bit leaned out, like, relaxed, going easy. I'm not like, hey, I saw that you're a coach. You want to talk about like any problems that you may be having? Because instant resistance. So it's like, hey, I was checking out your profile. You seem really interesting. Give me a holler back whenever you see this. They responded back, hi, thank you for connecting with me as well. And I was like, for sure. And I showed even more of like rapport. So I was like, I love your tagline. This was something that was on their profile, and it was living God's purpose for your life. I was like, you have some awesome boys, by the way. She had pictures of her sons. So I went and I commented on a few. I hearted a few. I looked at her tagline, and I used that to build the rapport. So it opens up, lets her know I'm paying attention. I'm just trying to sell her something. And I was like, you post such motivational posts. Are you a coach of some kind? So I want her to self-identify so I know I'm talking to my ideal client who's a good fit for my thing. And she was like, I'm heading in the direction of coaching, but I have not accomplished it yet. I have always just wanted to make people laugh, smile, and become inspired by something I posted. So she self-identified, I'm going in that direction. I want to be. I was like, that's super kind-hearted of you. The world needs more people like you. What do you feel is standing between you and actually starting up coaching? There are a lot of people out there right now that could benefit from your value. So once again, the reason I did this is because remember the buying pocket. What I saw in her answer, her reply, was that she was way far on the self-doubt, the insecure side. She's like, I'm heading that direction, but I could tell she really is like, man, I don't know how. So I started the process of already boosting her confidence towards, you can do this. You're meant for this. You have this. So I wanted to get her on the other end of that spectrum. Does that make sense? You guys remember what I'm talking about? She kind of went into it. She was telling me a little background of a course that she was going into, and that's where I was going with it. So she started telling me a little bit about the pain. But what I wanted you to really see is this first part, the rapport. This is an outbound conversation. This is completely cold. I never knew this person. I just became friends with them. On the 24th, sent them a message. They sent me a reply on the 25th. And then at 2, I sent them one at 8. So like almost 24 hours later, I replied. So hopefully that should kind of start answering your question when you were asking about how do you have to answer right away. This is almost 24 hours later between this 2 messages and this 2 messages. So this between my 2 messages here was like 48 hours. This person closed, by the way. This conversation goes down and they bought at the end of this conversation. So that's outbound. So you were asking earlier, like, what's the framework to get people to actually come to you and get in a conversation in the first place? So I use what I call hand-raising content. What you'll see is this is the framework. I call it PISA. And PISA stands for pain, agitate, invalidate, solution, action. So what I mean by that? So let's say you remember everyone moves up. The only reason people do anything is to move away from pain and towards pleasure. And what you want to do is call out the pain. So let's say you're making a post on Facebook or inside of a group, or inside of your group, and you call out a pain. If the person you serve, your offer is for helping women get attract their husbands again, who feel like their pain is like their husband is, they're starting to have a relationship breakup. They don't feel attractive anymore. They feel like the spice is going out of their relationship. That's the pain that your that your offer solves. You could call out a pain like, hey, you write a post. It's like, does all he ever do is give you grandpa kisses? Is all he ever do anymore gives you grandpa kisses? Your ideal client's going to see that and be like, yeah, all he does is like smooch me on the forehead, not like before when we first got together. It was passion and romance, and he couldn't keep his hands off of it. So they feel that pain. The next thing you want to do in that same post is now tell a story to agitate the pain. So you do that pain. That's a call to action. That's called a hook. Hook that catches people's attention. It causes them to read the next thing. And because I would suggest using a story or a metaphor to agitate the pain, because we as humans, we learn and we have belief shifts, and we create emotion from stories. Remember, people buy because they feel like it. So the pain, getting away from pain to pleasure, the emotions of this post is what's going to cause them to start feeling that internal tension. That's going to cause them to reach out to you. So you tell that story and you're like, okay, so all he ever does is give you grandpa kisses. I felt the same way when this is what was happening 5 years ago in my marriage. We were to blah, 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 and he never even looked at me. And then I've noticed this. And was he cheating? I noticed lipstick on his blah, blah, blah. And you're telling a story that agitates their pain because they're going through something similar. And as they're reading this, they're putting themselves in your story. Whether that story is about you, a movie character, a past experience, one of your clients, or whatever. You're telling a story that agitates the pain. You want to invalidate other possible solutions. So people are always getting marketed to about that problem. So you want to make sure that once you transition from the story portion of your post, you go into invalidation. So it's like, you may have tried counseling, you may have tried dressing up, you may even tried a dating coach. You might have tried this, but none of that works. I tried it too. And this is why, because blah, 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 blah. So you invalidate, you gave them all this pain through the story and calling out the pain. And then you cut off all avenues off of the pain. So now they're stuck on pain island. Then the next portion is solution. So then, because people want to move away from pain towards pleasure, you talk about their ideal life. So it's like, ultimately now I've arrived to the point where it's like we're newlyweds again. We just took our second honeymoon, blah, 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 blah. They're like, oh my God, I want that. I need that. But they can't get to it because all the methods that they think and they've been told and they've been marketed to, you've already cut them off. So now they feel this huge internal desire. So like the human nervous system, if I were to put a hot coal on your back right now, what is your nervous system, your brain and your central nervous system going to do? Even without your conscious thought, it's going to cause you to move away from the hot coal. You're going to jerk away and be like, ow, it'll probably smack me. But this is the equivalent of putting a hot coal on them, through it's psychological. So they feel the hot coal of their pain, but they can't move away from it. But they can see the end result in you. And this is why you're going to do the A part, call to action. You position whatever you want them to do next as the thing to get them away from their pain that they're feeling after reading your post to that pleasure that they're wanting after seeing what you positioned in your post. And that could be, hey, if you're feeling this right now and you want to get to the point where you're on your second honeymoon, I want you to comment blah, 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 blah below. Or I want you to message me. Or I want you to, whatever it is you want to do, subscribe to my podcast, join my Facebook group. You position it there. So that's the framework. Now, the way you're going to make this framework is you're able to do different modalities. So you have written, video, image. Some people like to experience it and they prefer reading. Some people prefer video. Some people prefer images. So you can take this framework and test it in each one of these different modalities. So you can write this out as a post. You can also go live and do the same content. Tell the same story, invalidate the solution, offer your solution, do a call to action, call out the pain, all of that in a live video or a pre-recorded video. You can make a meme. If you're in my Facebook group, you'll notice I use memes really effectively in that way, because it humanizes, it adds humor into the marketing, and it chips away, it creates that it agitates that problem. When they see a meme about something they're struggling with, it brings it to the surface of their mind, and it's causing those things. You can test all of those, and then on those, these are your platforms. So I would suggest picking one. So Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, pick one, go all in on it, and try these different 3 modalities using the PISA framework. And the way you could get that PISA framework, if you don't already have an understanding of your target audience, I would suggest making a list of pains and problems, either through going out and interviewing them, or if you sell someone else's product, ask the person who created the product, what kind of pains, like who is this built for? What are they experiencing? And where are they trying to go? Where does this program take you from and to? What's the entrance and exit strategies? What's the arrive and departure and arrival for this program? So you can make a list of pains, a list of desires, and what you do is you will test them. You'll make a post that one of the pains, you'll test it, you'll check to see what engagement, who reaches out. When you get them in conversation, you're going to be the way the script I'm going to show you the design is you walk through the pain, you walk through the desires, you create a gap, and then you fill the gap with your offer. But you're going to get that feedback from the real marketplace. They're going to tell you, I have these pains, and some things you would have never thought about, but the marketplace is literally going to tell you. Some things you would have thought were important to them is you're going to find out is not important. Some things are going to get engagement, some things aren't. Some things are going to cause people to into action, some things aren't. So you're able to have the marketplace refine your actual messaging until it's potent. So then when people reach out, they're already pre-sold. They're like, I'm in a lot of pain, I want out of it. You show them what to want because of your positioning, your solution, and your call to action. And then boom, you got them in the conversation so that you could do the next portion, which is the discovery phase. So how did you find, so I have 2 questions here. I have one is this CSR software that you're using? Here in a little bit, I'm going to show you the exact process, like what I'm using. I'm going to show you software, and I'm going to show you a free way that you can track your leads and make your leads. And then I see one that says, how did you find her outbound? So what I do is once I'm clear on who my offer is for, what my offer does, I go out to where they are. So let's say I find targeted, I'm working on Facebook. So I'll find targeted Facebook groups that has my ideal client in it. So if my ideal client is a new coach, guess where I'm going? I'm going to where my new coaches hang out. I'm going to like coaching groups. I'm going for like help groups, self-help groups, or different things like that. I'm going to look at other influencers in the market who serves that ideal client. I'm going to join their group. I'm going to add value to their group by posting, asking questions, answering questions in the group, and people are naturally going to be drawn to me, getting conversations with me. I'm going to add them as friends, and I'm going to reach out to them. Like you saw that outbound conversation, that person I found in a coaching group, which is my ideal client is a coach. And she was asking a question. I answered the question in her post. I think we talked a little bit in that comment thread inside of that group. We ended up sending friend requests, or I think I sent her friend request. I'm not 100% sure. She either sent me or I sent her. We became friends. As soon as we became friends, I sent her that introduction message. It opened from there and we went on. And I'm able to do that constantly. So if I'm constantly being active and becoming valued members in these different groups, I constantly have my ideal clients connecting with me. And so my friends list is full of ideal clients. They see my posts on my wall, and they're seeing these PISA. I see a question that says, so are you making PISA maybe video, for example, before having that conversation with the person and just forwarding the video? So this is going to go like on my wall. So I'm not sending this like to the person. This is the content I post on my social media that causes people to raise their hand through the call to action. So either in the call to action, I'm going to say, message me if you want X, Y, and Z. So I put together, so it's like I called out the pain. I told a story that made them agitated the pain. I invalidated other possible solutions they could be getting marketed about or thinking would be the solution. I positioned my new opportunity, my offer. Like I have the, I used to think this, blah, 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 but this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. But I did find something that worked. And it's my unique selling mechanism. a 5-step selling framework that allowed me to be able to close $15,000 last week alone. If you want to know how you can use this in non-position, call to action. If you know how you can use this in your business and what that would look like for you, or I have a cheat sheet, or if you want the actual script for my actual framework, comment blah, 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 below, and I'll shoot it over. So it's a call to action. And what that does is it causes people to reach out to me, self-selected. I know that they have that problem, that pain, because that's why they responded. And I've positioned myself as the expert to them because they're reaching out to me to solve the problem. So when I get them into a conversation, that's now an inbound. You're positioned in a lot more powerful position when you do a post like this and people reach into you. On outbound, you still have these on your wall or in your group. I would refrain from doing the call to action inside of a group that you don't own. I would do everything besides the A, because if you do a call to action to somebody else's group, especially in my group, I'm going to boot you. And I know most other group owners are like that. But you can do the PAIS, and people are naturally going to go over and look at your profile, because if they resonate with what you posted, they're like, who is this? And they're most likely going to send you a friend request. They're most likely going to comment on your stuff, and then you can friend request them, and you end up in a conversation. So does that make sense? I hope that answered your question. Okay, yes. Okay, so that's the hand raising framework. That should help you be able to get into these conversations, have people reach out to you. And once again, I wouldn't do the Pisa every single day, because you're going to burn out your friends list. People are going to stop paying attention if you're just doing a call to action every day, because that's like selling. That's a withdrawal. So you want to give value 80% of the time, and 20% of the time you want to post out that type of content so people reach out to you. You give, take. You deposit, withdraw, and then go back to deposit. So if you saw, the reason you guys are on this right now is because I was giving value. And if you notice, I did a call to action. I did a Pisa, and you guys said Ninja. You commented Ninja. Comment this below if you want X, Y, and Z result. You guys were like Ninja. Pulled you in the conversation. I withdrew. And then you'll notice that now that this training is going to be over, you're going to notice that what I'm doing instead of pulling, I'm just going to be giving more value. I'm depositing back in you. So you'll see videos where I'm giving tips. I'm giving advice. I'm doing trainings. I'm connecting. And then it's a promotion cycle. So then you'll see, boom, I'll make an offer to help so that I receive. So I give, and then I receive. I give, I receive. And you want to create those same cycles in your business. I think Gary Vee, he calls it a jab, hook. So you give, take. So you do have a business. This is an example of an inbound conversation. So this person came in to me. This is another sale that closed. So it's like, hi, Tiger. I see you added me on Facebook. I saw your profile, and I'm interested in your business consulting service. So I was like, sure thing. Mind if I ask you a few questions just to make sure you're a great fit for what it is that I do? So I asked for permission to ask them questions. And, even though I didn't really necessarily have to, because they approached me, like I said, this inbound is way more powerful because you're already leveraged as the person giving approval, versus outbound, you're in a slightly weaker position because now you have to kind of like people that are coming into you already think you're cool. But when you're going out to them, they don't know you're cool yet. So we kind of went through this. I wanted to show us the rapport building, how short it is. Notice I didn't go through rapport building for 45 messages. I didn't go into friend zone with the last outbound or inbound. So they self-identified. I'm a transformational coach, work with individuals and families with disabilities. And then to answer your question again, this was on December 9th. I responded finally on Sunday. Sorry for the late reply. I just saw this. This person closed. So there was a huge gap in time here. So don't feel like just because a couple of days have passed that this conversation is lost. Pick back up and continue. This sale closed just a little bit later down. So it's like, thank you. I mainly help people with learning disabilities. I see, how's it going so far? So now I'm into the actual next phase after the build rapport. So I wanted you to see this portion. Any questions about build rapport phase? I think we got that covered. I don't see any questions popping up. So the next stage after you've built your rapport. So someone said, how many questions do you suggest to have at once? So I'm a bit of a chat monster. I usually start 20 conversations a day at a minimum. So that's my standard for myself. I also have like a CRM and software that helps me leverage that. So what I mean by start is I usually send out 20 friend requests a day to ideal or people that I know that can benefit from my services. And as they're becoming friends, I'm making sure that I'm introducing myself to my new friends around like 20 a day. Usually it's more, but 20 a day is around like the standard. I'll send out an introduction message. And then a percentage of those people, some people are not going to read the first one and you have to go into follow-up. The other people are going to reply back and you're able to walk them through. And over time, what it's going to first feel like is really overwhelming. All of a sudden, you're going to go from like just talking to maybe a couple people to like your inbox is jumping and you're going to feel this tendency to be like, whoa, let me slow down, pump the brakes. I'm talking to too many people. I want you to lean into it. Lean into the pain. You're going to normalize it. It's going to become normal to have these many conversations, and it's going to create a ton of money for you. I'm telling you. And once again, it's that feeling of like getting out of your comfort zone. All the best things, all the success, all the things that you want are on the other side of your fear and on the other side of your comfort zone. So when you feel like, oh my goodness, I have too many conversations going on, continue what you're doing. Focus on the lead indicators. Focus on the process. Just how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Take your bite, chew it up, swallow it, take the next bite, but just keep going. Fight the tendency or the feeling that you're most likely going to have in the beginning if you're connecting with that volume of people to go, okay, I'm not going to talk to any more people for a couple of days to catch up. Keep doing the process, keep doing the framework, and you'll get there. You'll normalize it and it'll become second nature. I have my Facebook group with a lot of people who are not my ideal client. This is my personal profile. How do you structure this? I'm not 100% clear. So you have a Facebook group, but they're not your ideal client. So if you're doing this on your personal profile, I would be adding friends that are your ideal client. And if your Facebook group is not targeted, okay, so if you're just using your personal profile, a group is not necessary to do this. So you just use your wall, your personal profile, as where you're going to be making these types of posts. And then the people that you're putting into your friends list should be your ideal client. So they see your post, they get value, you build up preeminence, you're seen as the trusted advisor, the authority. As they're seeing your post, they see you give value, they see you post and give lifestyle, they see you post and give results, then they see your call to actions so that you get them into a conversation so you're able to make money. But as far as your other group, yeah, I wouldn't really do that in that group because it would be seen as irrelevant to them because they're not your ideal client. So if you were posting about things that doesn't apply to them, they're probably going to tune your group out, or they're going to wonder like, why is she posting about this? Yeah. So I would you want to use your Facebook as, instead of social media, since you're running a business, it is now business media for you. You want to be adding friends that are your ideal clients, and you want to be making your post with a strategy. I call it the RVL, results, value, lifestyle. And then 20%, that's 80% of the time, 20% of the time, you're doing the PISA with the call to action so that you end up in conversations. And if you're wanting to really get the ball moving, you can do outbound. So when people are accepting your friend request, you're jumping into conversations with them already. So, and if you have any more questions about the discovery phase, drop them in chat, and I'll do my best to make sure I get to it at the Q&A portion at the end. So discovery phase. So next, after the rapport has been built and you've gotten permission to ask them questions, now the questions that you're asking aren't just any old questions. Number one, they're open-ended questions. You don't want to necessarily ask many yes or no type questions. If you're asking questions that can only be answered yes or no, it's called what is like projecting. So what you want to do is guide a person to do what they want to do for or what you want them to do for their reasons. And the way to get people to influence people and to lead people is to control and direct their focus. And the way to control and direct someone's focus is through using questions, open-ended questions. And you want to ask questions that relate to what your offer actually solves. So what I call them is like you first start finding out about their current situation. So where are they? What are they doing? So if you have a business offer, you're asking about where they are right now. So have you started your business? What are you currently doing right now? I noticed that you said that you were coaching. How's that going? Are you still working? Are you doing it full time? You're finding out where they are. And in finding out where they are, you're going to start to hear where there could possibly be pain, where they're struggling. And this is what you want to start in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. They call it chunking up and chunking down. So you're changing frame size. So if someone gives you an example or somebody gives you an answer that's kind of like vague, not really much to work with, you can ask questions that could chunk down. Like, what do you mean? So when you said this exactly, you could focus in on one portion of their answer and go into the details of it and find where the pain is. Or if someone gets down into the details, you can go up to chunk up and go, okay, so you said that you were really struggling to get your business started and you were spending a bunch of money on ads and you're not really getting a return. How is this affecting any other areas of your life? So now you're chunked out. You're spreading the pain out. So it depends on where the conversation is going and what you're doing, because like I said, your goal is to create the buying pocket. You want there to be a clear gap. You want them to get clarity on their pain, not necessarily just for you, but they need to hear themselves talk about their pain. They need to feel their pain. And the pain needs, like I said, needs to be relevant to your offer, and don't relieve the pain. What I see a lot of the time is like coaches and people who are helpers, they like to, when someone says, yeah, I've really been struggling with this and blah, 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 and it really sucks. They'll say, oh, no, that's normal. Yeah, you're struggling with that, but that, like, everybody goes through that. And then they'll ask another question or whatever. And it's like, if there's no pain, there's no sale. So as much as it sucks, in order for it to heal, it has to hurt. So you have to leave them with their pain in order to help them. Or if they say the pain and you try to relieve it with humor or just normalizing it, it relieves it. They don't feel that pressure anymore. So you want to do what's actually usually called twisting the knife. So if I were to say to you were asking me like, if I was saying to a new coach, like, so how long have you been trying to get your business running? And they were like, oh man, I've invested in so many courses and I've tried to nail down my offer and my niche. And every time I think I figured it out, I end up right back at the drawing board. So instead of me going, oh, that's normal, every coach goes through that, and relieve the pain, instead I would twist the knife. And it sounds horrible, but you're actually serving them by doing it so that they take action to get out of that pain, or they'll stay stuck in it, which is worse. So I would say something like, okay, so what I hear you saying, I would mirror back. What I hear you saying is you have no idea how to actually set up your business or how to actually get started. Is that right? So it twists the knife in the question. So it's like, it's a bruised knee and you kick the bruised knee. Because if you don't, then there's a possibility at the end, they're going to be, when they hear that it's going to cost $2,000, they're like, oh, well, this doesn't hurt that bad. I've been walking on it already for a while. But if you're like, how does that feel? Ow, ow, ow. Wait, how about, does it hurt when I do it like this? Oh, yes, doc, that hurts so much. So how has this been really affecting other areas of your life? Has this been affecting how you perform at work? yeah, really, now that I think about it, my boss was really complaining because I didn't get much done, but it's because my knee hurts. It's like, okay, well, man, that's what else? Like, how about at home? And he would spread out the pain. So then when he gave you his prescription or a physical therapy program at the end, you're not going to be like, I don't need that, doc. You're like, yeah, I got to have that because I realize now that this is affecting my work. This is affecting my relationships, and it hurts. It hurts bad. So hopefully that makes sense. I see one that says, if I'm into affiliate marketing, what criteria should I look into while adding Facebook friends? It depends on what your affiliate marketing offer solves. It says, from where can I add friends in Facebook so I can start conversations and offer in the end? From Facebook groups. It depends on what your affiliate offer is. If your affiliate offer is helping people start affiliate marketing, you want to add new affiliate marketers. If your affiliate offer is like detox tea, you want to add people that have health issues that detox tea can solve. It depends on what your offer is. So if someone is, let's say, if you are creating your own product, so you're coaches, if you're a coach and you're making your own product, if you're not an affiliate marketer, you're gonna, what I teach my clients, the correct way to build it, the leverageable way to build it is your clients are in a certain amount of pain. They're in a certain pain that they're both willing and able to solve. They're willing and able to pay you to solve, and they have a certain end goal, a certain pleasure they want to get to, and they're not able to get there on their own. So there's a clear gap, and your offer is actually the bridge between their pain to their pleasure. So people want to move away from pain to pleasure, but when all avenues are cut off from getting from their pain to their pleasure, they feel internal pressure, their own pressure to get out of the pain, but they have nowhere to go. So your offer is the logical way to get out of their pain.
I've been trying it before. But they wanted.
Does someone have a question? I think somebody. I think it's you.
I didn't want them to wrap up. I would have do it this morning, but
yeah, I'm gonna. Who's the host? Stephanie.
Ian needs to mute.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was already muted.
Okay. There you go. Okay, so as you are asking questions, you're asking them around their milestones. So what does, if you also have an affiliate offer, so what main, like 3 to 5 actual transitions or milestones or solutions does your product or your service offer to their ideal client to get them from their pain to their pleasure? You're only asking questions around what solution your offer makes. You don't want to open up loops, pain loops about things that your offer, it has nothing to do with your offer. Because when you make the offer at the end, people are going to give you the objection of like, I don't know. I mean, this sounds really good, but I don't know if it does everything I need it to do. Because in the back of their mind, you started asking questions about pains that has nothing to do with what solution your offer actually does. And that open loop sits in their mind. And that's where that feeling of like, this doesn't quite give me everything I need. But if you make sure you keep people directed onto the actual pillars of your offer. So if your offer did 3 things, like so for mine, I help new coaches go from their pain of not having a coaching offer and not making money with their coaching to they get to 6 figures. And what they need to set up is the 3 things I was showing you. Their offer, their packaging and messaging, who they serve, who they don't serve, what they deliver, how they deliver it, their messaging, how they price it. The second thing would be their lead generation. How do they get hungry, pre-sold leads, consistent stream of them coming to them, wanting their products? And then the third thing, the third milestone is setting up a sales process, the conversion process that caused all that attention, since you can't deposit hearts into your bank account, to give you money and get impact inside your program. So once they set up those 3 milestones, they can see how they can go from struggling and lost, not knowing what they're doing, to being able to make impact to become a 6-figure coach. So I would only ask questions around those 3 pain points. I don't want to know about how much weight they've lost, or how, I don't want to open pain loops around other things, because at the end, if there's any other pains open out there that when I present my solution that it doesn't answer and solve and fill in those holes, they're going to feel like something is missing. So you want to use your open-ended questions around that. So let's say your offer shows people how to lose weight with, I don't know, counting calories. I mean, it's a horrible offer. So counting calories, you help people lose weight. And that person is like, you're asking them questions about how they're currently going about trying to lose weight. And they're like, well, I just kind of been really exercising. I really don't know what to do, but you know, it's like, well, do you keep a record of like what you eat? Do you keep a record of how many calories that you're doing? Oh, no, I don't really do that. But you know, your offer teaches that. And if they are against it, they're not going to buy it. So you check for what's called coachability. So it's like, okay, well, are you open to the idea of actually tracking what it is that goes into your body if it's something that would actually get you to where, you know, being able to lose the weight, the end result that you want? And if they're like, yeah, I would definitely be open to something like that, you can leave it there, because you position your offer later. That is the thing, that's the loop that you open. That's like, if they were to find something, you know, that did that, if they were to find a method that tracking that would help them get to their end result, is that something they would be open to, then they're going to see that this is the thing that is better. And that tying down on coachability does that. And then the last part of the discovery phase is finding out their goals and their dreams. So remember, we're trying to create a pain state through asking questions, and we're trying to create a desired state, a pleasure state, by asking questions. So you want those two states inside of people's minds to be clearly defined. And the way to do that, to bring it up in their mind, is, like I said, to direct their focus through open-ended questions. So if I were to say to you right now, like, don't think about a pink elephant. Or if I were to say, have you ever noticed people bring up things about pink elephants? Like, your brain cannot ignore that, whether consciously or subconsciously. Your brain's gonna probe for, number one, pink elephants. And the way I phrased that other question was people who think about pink elephants. So it's like I directed your thoughts where I wanted it to go. And in this case, you want to direct people's thoughts through your open-ended questions towards, in the beginning, finding out their pain. So you're asking questions about their pain, because guess what their mind is going to do? Their mind is going to think about the pain that they're in, and it's going to create that mental state of pain. And then once that's clearly defined, you're going to start asking questions about their desires. Where do they really want to go? What are their goals? And if we were to have this conversation 6 months from now, where do you see yourself being? Where would you like to be if anything was possible? And then asking these questions creates their pleasure state. So once you've created that, then the next thing you're going to do is drive it apart so there's a clear gap. So I'm going to show kind of like some conversations that does this. So this is a little bit of the rapport. So nice to meet you. We kind of broke into, this person was starting to launch their coaching business. And they kind of gave me a little bit of resistance. They were kind of like, I was asking, they said that they were an energy and awakening agent type coach. It says, that sounds like a pretty cool topic for to coach people in. How's that been going for you? So I want to find out their current situation. That's a part of the discovery. Thank you. I'm in launching mode right now. So ask me in a few months and I'll let you know. So some people just kind of go, oh, okay, well, they're not ready. But, you know, whatever. So she's using a little bit of humor. My vision is, as an energy awakening agent, I guide survivors of trauma, blah, 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 blah. That's the vision anyway. I was like, that's a great niche. I have a few clients right now who also have high ticket coaching offers for trauma survivors and people with PTSD. Because she showed some doubt, I want to let her know that there's already people doing this and doing this successfully, so that I push her up in the buying pocket. Remember, she's too far to the left where she's feeling insecure. She's not going to buy. She's feeling too far to the right where she's like, oh, I can easily do this. She's not going to buy. But if she's more than halfway, just a little bit over halfway confident, like, okay, I can see myself doing it. I just don't really know. I'm not 100% confident I can just do it on my own. Then she's in the buying pocket. So I added this little boost, letting her know that there's people doing that. Like, this is a great niche. So it boosted her out of the insecurity a bit. And so I nudged her forward. And then I asked another question. What's your launch strategy? So I want to find out what's her current situation. I want to get into it. Launch strategy, she was like, good question. Still figuring that out. I've just started an Instagram, blah, 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 blah. How's that going so far? Any traction? She's like, I think so. It's going kind of anyway. Slow, but not slowly but surely, I guess. I was like, that's good. Are you making offers to people who join your program or that find you or still interested in you? And then I went down here into her goals. So she was like, no, I don't have a program yet. So I want her to hear herself say over and over, since she's a new coach, I want her to hear herself say, I don't have a strategy to launch this, i.e. I don't know what I'm doing. Down here, I don't have anything in place yet. I don't know what this is. And this is all based around my pillars of my offer. So whatever your offer does, whatever it does, whatever problems it solves, you want to ask questions around this that causes them to express and clarify in their mind and feel the pain of like, yeah, I'm struggling with this. I don't know how to solve that. Yeah, this is causing me pain. This is also causing pain in other areas. And then you want to shift into their goals. So here I twisted a knife. I see. So you really don't know how to structure your program. I'm a bit curious. Remember that neutral language. I'm a bit curious. What's your goal with coaching? So now I want to create that future state. So I twisted a knife. So I just reiterated to her so she could hear it back. And with the knife twist that you don't really know what you're doing. So that she realizes that. I gave her a confidence boost. And then I created the gap by going, you're in pain, right? So you don't have a strategy to launch. You don't know how to get clients. You don't know how to get leads. Things are going slow. And by asking her that open-ended question, I caused her to look at it again. I kicked the wounded knee. And then once that was clear, then I want to create the future pay state. What's her goal? And then she shifted into her goals. So I'm creating those two things and keeping the gap there. Is this making sense? I want to make sure I'm not leaving anybody because this is crucial that you get these two states. This is why people buy. This is the psychology around it. And this is it in practice. Because like I said, these people actually gave me money. This is not theory. This is like the real conversations of people going through. She's like, makes sense, very valuable. Thank you. Okay, awesome. So after you've done a good discovery, remember the doctor, he doesn't just come in and as soon as you walk in, go, hey, how are you? Great to see you. I actually have some great medicine that this rep gave me 50% off. I think I might give it to you if you want. And it's malpractice. So once you've done a proper evaluation, a diagnosis of the symptoms, what's going wrong, where does it hurt, how does it hurt, how long has it been hurting, why is it hurting? Now you found out where they really want to be. What's the end result of your thing? And they're a good fit. There's a gap. Now you want to tie down a few things. One is like timing. Something I like to do is create what's called like an urgency frame, because if people don't feel like they need to do it now, remember rule 3 of selling is people will fight like heck to stay where they are, to stay in their comfort zone. But your job is to lead them out. Your job is to help them make the best decision for them. The best decision for them is usually outside of their comfort zone. So one way to do this is towards the end. You can't start creating urgency so much in the beginning because you haven't earned that. In the beginning, you want to just use neutral language, kind of focusing on the details, the pain, the goals. And then once you've clearly done your doctoral duties, now you can go, well, I'm a bit curious. And I'm going to show you this in an actual conversation. Hopefully it'll make even more sense. It's like, I'm a little bit curious, but you said that you were, kind of struggling with this. You really want to get here. Is this something that's a priority for you now? Or is this something like a, 6 months from now thing? So that they hear themselves and they tie themselves down as saying, this is something now. I really need this in place. And they're going to feel that because they just went through the emotions of everything that they're struggling with, the cost of inaction and where they really want to go. And it's like, is this important to you? Yeah. And if they don't, then you want to chunk down and be like, well, why would you want to wait 6 months? What's going on? And you can start to dig down into their timing. But you want to make sure you tie that down so they hear themselves say, this is something I want to do right now. Depending on the conversation, and depending on your offer, you also might want to try to figure out the decision-making power. So someone that you may worry that they're going to tell you, I need to talk to my spouse or my business partner, because of earlier in the discovery phase, if you did a good discovery, you're going to know some details about certain things. You have uncovered things. And the more you have these conversations, the more you're going to start getting a gut feeling for it. And you'll know when to kind of dive into many of these. And you can start asking things like, okay, so earlier you said you wanted to retire your family. So I'm assuming that you're married. So this might be a bit of an odd question. Remember, a softener. How supportive is your husband of you getting help with your business or with your health or with your relationship? And they're like, oh, he's all aboard. He's so supportive, blah, 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 blah. Okay, would he need to be included in the decision should you decide to possibly invest or make a decision to actually to move forward to getting help with that, so that they can tell you right then or there whether they need provision. And if they do, you might want to include them into the conversation. Not might, like you should. But if not, you want to get a tie down right there that they say like, yeah, I can make the decision. Now is the time I want to do it. So there's that urgency frame. Or you can kind of be like, well, why is this important to you now though? You know, so you wanted to get to 6 figures in your coaching. You're thinking about starting your coaching business, to do this, to do that. Why is it important to you now? That kind of stuff creates urgency. So when they answer that, subconsciously, they've just said why they need to do it now. And then the ultimate question, I have it in bold here. If you miss this, you're going to miss the sale. Because this is how you create the gap. You've created the pain state, asking those questions about their pain. You've created their ideal state. You're asking the questions about where they really want to be. Now you need to drive it all the way apart. And you can do it by asking, so why you really want to get here? You're really struggling here. You're having these symptoms. You said this, and you want to go there to have this amazing result. Why do you feel that you haven't been able to do that on your own? And when they answer that, they're going to create their own gap. It's going to drive those apart, and they're going to be like, well, I'm stuck here and I can't get there on my own. And they're going to look into the gap, and they're going to tell you what they see in the gap, what they want, what they feel like is missing. And this is how you're able to get the people to do and sell and buy for their reasons, not yours. Because if you're selling like a business offer, you might think everybody wants to buy it because they want to make money, but that might not be their motivation, their motivating reason. When you ask them and they look into the gap and they're like, well, I really just want some support and like accountability. And, you know, like my main reason is because I want to make impact. Like I want to do this for that. So you're not going to position their main thing as like, all right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to help you get to 10K a month so you can drive a Lambo and all. Like, no, you're going to position, you want them to do it for their reasons. You want to get them, lead them out of their comfort zone for their reasons. So this is going to be very powerful to help show you that. I saw something pop up in chat. So should I say, I see I'm going to listen to this every day for a while. This is gold. Yes, you may have to like repeat this a few times, go back through notes and get into practice. Don't just stay in the learning mode. Go out. The way you're going to get better is by going out and implementing. Like, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to have someone say no. Don't be like, they're not rejecting you. Because remember, what you're offering them is their goals and their dreams. So they're not, if they say no, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting themselves. They're rejecting their goals. And it has nothing to do with you. So if you tie your identity, remember, a lot of this is mindset. If you tie your identity into whether or not this person gives you money or whatever, like it's a recipe for disaster. You have to detach yourself from the sale. So that's something I was saying in the very beginning about mindset, is detaching your emotion, detaching your identity, detaching your feelings from the end result. And this is an example. Let me go down here. So here's timing. So this person, I asked him what was his goal. So he was like, he told me his goal, and I was like, that's a great initial goal. Should be able to hit that in around 90 days if you stay consistent. I think he was a little bit low on this, like on the left side, the insecure side. So I wanted to be like, yeah, you can do that. You can reach that with the right plan. I don't want to just be like, yeah, you could do that, because that would push him too far to think like, oh, I can just do it on my own. He said so, but with the right plan. So that's what's missing, because obviously he didn't have the right plan. So it opens a loop, like there is a right plan. It kind of presupposes that there is a right strategy out there. He just doesn't know it yet. But later, when my offer is the right plan, or whatever offer you're selling is the right plan, I was like, what is the biggest factor standing between you hitting, I think what he wanted to make was $7,200 a month on your own. So then by answering this, he tells me that he admits to himself that he can't do it on his own. So now there's a gap and he's stuck in pain, which is why he gave me money. And it's like, well, his answer was, I just it will just be making sure the action is doing the right things. So I reflected back to him mirroring, so having a proven plan to follow. And he was like, exactly that. So he felt understood. He now feels that he's cut off from where he wants to go, stuck in the pain. And now I can properly position my offer in the next step. I was like, got it. So I'm curious, neutral language again, is getting your coaching business profitable a now thing, or more like something you're looking to make happen in the future? I'm creating urgency. I want to tie him down. He's like, definitely now, dude, exclamation point. Okay, so is this something that is important? So this is something that's important to you right now. And then now I'm going to position my offer. So great. To be honest with you, you seem like a perfect fit for what we're doing in our blah, blah, blah. So I position my offer and I asked for permission to give him the sale. He agreed. Yeah, sure. Thanks for the value you provided this far. So even in your sales conversations, because of the clarity you get by asking these questions, getting them clear on the pain and the situation they're in, the goals that they really want to set, because most people don't even realize where they want to go and where they're even at. Just even that is already so much value. And then now you position your offer as like, here's your actual way out. I'm going to lead you out of your comfort zone. And, then I positioned the offer and he bought. He was successfully got out of his comfort zone. And now he's going to be doing well. He just joined the program, I think last week. So then, yeah, you're positioning the offer and objection handling. So you're getting permission for the sale, the same way I was showing you there. And then you're phrasing it in such a way that it's away from pain towards pleasure. So, hey, I think you're a perfect fit for, my product or what it is that I'm doing to help you get from, you said you were struggling with this, and this, and able to get to those 10K months, or to be able to get those rock hard abs, or be able to have that fulfilling relationship. Would it be appropriate if I told you a bit about what it is that I do? Or if I sent you the link to my video, or if I, whatever, you're able to present your offer. And then don't prop up the sale. So this is where people get to the 1 yard line, or the 5 yard line or whatever, and they fumble. Because it's like you did everything right up until the end and you create buyer resistance at the end, because you're like, all right, would it be appropriate if I gave you, if I told you about my program, I think it would really help you. And they're like, yeah, okay, well, my program is this, this, this. And if you don't buy, that's fine too. And then, you're going to get all this stuff. And like, that's why it costs this, but and you start propping up the sale. It causes the person, a natural reaction is kind of like, well, why are they saying all that? Like, does this really work? Like, it causes the person to be skeptical now, because you're trying to prop it up. So if you shouldn't be selling things that you aren't confident is going to help people, and probably that you've already tried yourself or experienced yourself. But rest in that you're confident with what it is that the prescription that you're writing as the doctor. So you're like, well, this is my program. This is the key pieces. This is where it is. Boom. Here's the investment. Here's the video. Check it out. Message me back when you watch it. I have some bonuses for you, or whatever it is. And you say it with confidence. You keep it and you let it be what it is. And what's going to happen is you'll go into the position of offering and handling. Okay, so yeah, as you saw here, we went into it. I gave it, to be honest, everything we discussed, you seem like a perfect fit for what we're doing. New private case study program. I've got info on how it works in a private YouTube video. We'd like me to send you the link. It's like, sounds great. So I gave him permission. He gave me permission to sell him. I said, cool. I sent him to a video that has the VSL, has a VSL. It's to sell him and present the offer in video format. I was like, give it a watch. Let me know if you're in or out. It's like, cool. I'm watching it now. Okay. Came back. It's amazing. Let me let that go away. I have a few questions. So sometimes you're going to get this. People don't buy right away. They have questions or they have objections. So now it's time to shift into the objection or question handling process. So a few tips, a few rules to follow is, number one, always agree. Always agree. So if someone's like, whoa, that costs a lot of money, that's expensive. Instead of going, no, it's not expensive. Like, you're just thinking about like combative. People aren't going to buy because now you're in like a fight with their ego where it's like, well, they have to not buy your thing in order not to be wrong. Or, like if you come in like you create resistance. So if someone's like, man, that's really expensive for me. the first thing you should be like, yeah, you're right. It is quite an investment. So you immediately agree with them. It no longer becomes an argument, a you versus them. And now you can have a productive conversation about it. And what you want to do is isolate the objection. Like, you're right. It is quite a bit of an investment. It is expensive. Is the investment the only thing stopping you from moving forward? So that they can tell you what are all their question marks, because maybe they're not certain about your product, maybe they're not certain about themselves, maybe whatever it is, so you can get it all out there. So if the first thing they pop up might be a smoke screen, it might not be the real thing that's holding it back, and if you just spend all your time focusing on solving that and you get it solved, they still don't buy because they have other objections that you never even brought up. And sometimes just doing that, getting them to put all the objections out there, they sell themselves, because once they vented it, it holds no power anymore. And you're able to deal with what's the main thing and reframe it. So you're able to I like to use metaphors and analogies to reframe the way something sits, or go straight for the identity level. So if someone is afraid, let's say they're like, man, that's a lot of money. Whew, I'd be taking a huge risk. I would want to go to the identity level. I would first grab someone, let's say my ideal client respects entrepreneurs because they're entrepreneurs, they're new coaches. So I would grab the identity of someone like Elon Musk. So I would say, well, you're right. Is it just the money that's stopping you from moving forward right now? Like, if this was free, you'd be 100% in. They're like, yeah, man. Oh, this would be 100% me. I was like, well, sometimes as an entrepreneur, or as a successful entrepreneur, so you're grabbing identity, you're identifying an identity. We have to take risk and invest in order to get a return on investment. Take Elon Musk for an example. He did about, so I would tell a story or use a metaphor or an example about him, and then allow that person to step into the identity so that they overcome their way of thinking. Does that make sense, or did I kind of leave any of you kind of behind there? So you establish an identity, and then you allow them to step into it. Another thing that you could do here is your downsell. So actually, if you have lower end products, like a cheaper product on the end, someone can't afford your higher ticket thing, you may have something that may have less support, less bells and whistles or whatever, that you can now go, okay, well, look, I do have an alternative thing that would still help you get to the solution, but it just would be missing a few of these components. Would you like to know a little bit more about that? And you can now downsell them into that. You guys still with me? Let me know. Give me a yes in the chat if you guys are still tracking with me right now. You still following along? Everything is still making sense? Yes, great info. Yes, I see James, Denise, Roman, Lisa. Awesome, great. So now time for the follow-up. So for people that don't buy, people that don't respond to your messages at any point in the conversation, these are some things I like to do. One, I like using pattern interrupts. So instead of just bombarding people with messages because they didn't reply, or even worse, not following up at all because, well, I sent them a message and they read it but didn't say anything, so I stopped talking to them. I figured I didn't want to bother them. And number one, that's all in your head. Like, this person's in a burning building. They're like, your moral obligation is to lead them out of the burning building that they're in. Their relationships, their health, their business, or whatever your offer serves, like, you owe it to them to follow up. Because if not, that person's relationship dies. That person's business never makes it. That, you owe it to them to follow up and get out of your own head about it. Because you don't automatically become like a psychic because you're in chat now. Like, all of a sudden you're like, oh, the reason why they didn't message back to me is because I'm bothering them, or they don't like me, or they're not interested in what I do. You don't know what's going on. You can send someone a message and the dog started barking. They read it. The dog started barking. They're like, who's that outside? They went, and it was like their friend came over, and then a whole thing happened, and it just slipped their mind, or they got busy, or the internet went out, or they had to use the bathroom, and whatever. You don't know. So don't just assume and then not follow up with people. I have a process which is going to be shown in the chat script I'm going to be giving you guys. But like I said, I take my emotions out of it. Everyone gets that same treatment. I send them a message. They seen it. They didn't reply. After an hour, I send like their first name with a question mark. They see it. They don't reply, or they don't reply, or whatever. The next day, I'd be like, hey, are you there? They don't respond. I'll send a pattern interrupt. So like, these are 2 examples of something I like to send. These 2 GIFs. So I'll drop like a GIF that kind of like, when they open it, sometimes like it's very effective. Like people look at it and they'll laugh and they'll be like, oh, this dude's, he's cool, or he's a human. Because like people are getting bombarded in their inboxes all day, every day with somebody trying to sell them something, send them an affiliate link, get them to join their podcast, interview, like all these different things. And they possibly could be looking at yours as like a part of the noise. But these kind of pattern interrupts causes you to stand out. It catches people's attention, and it causes that humor, like funny equals money. So, and then following up, being consistent. So not just taking your emotions and being like, I'm not gonna send a guy another message. He didn't respond to my last one. Like, get you a system. This is what you do. After 1 hour, somebody doesn't respond, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours. And you just apply the same system to every single lead and then move forward from there. The follow-up, let's say someone didn't buy right away, they had an objection you couldn't overcome. In the future, you could follow back up with that person, and let's say it was like a money objection and they just couldn't afford it. And you came back after like 2 weeks, and you're like, hey, I got together with my team. We talked about your situation, and we know that a couple weeks ago you weren't really able to financially afford it, but you were 100% in. You really wanted this. What we've decided to do, or what we're able to do, is do an extended payment plan. So instead of 3 payments of whatever, we can actually bump that out to 6 payments of this, and this, and you'll be able to grab more revenue out of sales that would have just been out of reach for people. If you have control of the actual offer. If not, you can do other things to raise the value, such as add bonuses, incentives. Like if you're doing an affiliate offer, they didn't buy the first time, you can follow up with a bonus. Like, hey, you didn't jump in last time. Totally understand that. I created this amazing bonus package that goes along. It's going to 10x your results. And I was wondering if you're interested. When you wanted to check it out, I think it would really be something that would be right up your alley. And then some people are gonna take you up on that offer as well, from your re-offers and your follow-up. So the money is definitely in the follow-up. I guarantee you right now, if you're already selling through Messenger, you're already selling through the phones or whatever, and you don't have a solid follow-up program in place, just by implementing this, you're gonna probably unlock thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars per month just doing this. So I'm not going to be able to show any of the like real world objection handling that I do, simply because of like privacy concerns. Because when I start dealing in like objection handling, I get a lot of like really personal information, and I wouldn't, I respect my clients and people who didn't become clients for whatever reason. I still respect their privacy, but I can explain the objection handling process. Let's see, do you use a spreadsheet for potential clients that you started rapport with? So I'm going to show you, Katya, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm going to show you the exact system here in just 1 second of how I actually track all of my leads, myself and my team, how we track our leads, and we communicate back and forth so that we keep up with our, who we're talking to, who we're not talking to, what part of the process that we're on. So with objection handling, here's some ninja tricks that you can use. So let's say you were talking with someone, they had an objection about, they had money, they had a credit card, but they're just like, look, man, I'm not comfortable putting money on my credit card, for this. Like, I know it could help me. I really think it could. I just don't really feel comfortable about it, man. This is too risky for me. I have all of this and that going on, whatever their story is, whatever their limiting belief about it is. So what you can do is, if you notice a trend of a certain type of objection that you get from about your offer or your ideal client, you can actually make content. you can, if you have a Facebook group, you can go live and talk about that. You can make a pre-recorded video that overcomes that objection. So you can make a video about how entrepreneurs use credit in order to create wealth. So like buying assets, and no one ever goes out and buys a $5 million skyride or like a hotel like 100% cash. They use leverage. They go borrow the money's bank on interest, and they're able to control $5 million with only like 10% of that money. So the big, small hinges swing big doors. So you're able to help them restructure their paradigm to see, like, it's a limiting belief, thinking that all using credit in every situation is bad or detrimental, or not accepting, like, when to accept risk. Because just because there's risk there doesn't mean that you shouldn't proceed forward. Because if the reward outweighs the risk, that's when entrepreneurs move forward, because entrepreneurs act in the face of risk. It's this calculated risk. And you can create content that knocks down some of these objections, so that whenever you finish talking with someone and they had this objection, you can follow back up with this video. Like, hey man, I did some training, or I have some training that I really think would benefit you based on some of the things we were talking about. You like for me to send it over? Then you can send over, or you can tag them in this training, and they go through it, and it handles objections for them. And then you can follow back up in the future and be like, hey man, how's it been going since the last time we talked? But what was stopping them from moving forward before, your content would have helped reframe and shift and break some old limiting beliefs and paradigms, and gave them install new ones, so that you'd now be able to lead them out of their burning building. And you can just make content that you can give over that builds trust, that gives value. So it's like, hey man, I was thinking about you. We were talking last week. You didn't jump into the program, but I have some content that really helps you with X, Y, and Z that you're struggling with. I'm going to give it to you. It's a video, it's a 30-minute video on how to build lead generation, how to grow your email list. I'm going to send it over. And they're like, oh man, you're awesome. Builds trust. It adds value. Because people have, like I was saying in the beginning, buying cycles. They made that 5% of the marketplace, you can build a 6-figure business off, the people who buy now. But the real wealth is going to come from that 95% of relationships that you nurture, that you continue following up with, that you give value to, that you knock down the limiting beliefs and help them have those aha moments. Because what aha moments do is they release dopamine, the same stuff that causes people to be addicted to substances and vices. That dopamine, those chemicals in your brain, when you have an aha moment, it releases dopamine. You're like, oh my goodness, I never thought of things like that. I feel good. I have a dopamine release. And what happens is people associate that dopamine release with you. So then you become like their drug. You become that trusted person. You become the person they want to go to get that aha moment, to get that, like, oh, I'm breaking through. I finally get it. And once you've connected those, now you have influence. Now you're able to lead them out of their burning buildings and from their hell to their heaven. So does that make sense? I know I wasn't able to show you, like I said, for privacy reasons, like actual conversations of objections, but I hope that I've given you enough value and clarity on it to be able to get the juices flowing. Okay, I see someone saying yes. So here's the chat script. I'm going to open it up. I'm not really going to go through it too deep. I'm going to put it in the actual membership area when I upload the replay, but it's kind of like to brush through it. What you can see: establish rapport, getting them to identify their target audience, find out about their current situation. So all the steps I just walked you through, I'm going to give you the script. I'm going to remove, and here's the follow-up as well. So 2 hours later, this 24 hours name, 48 hours later, send a funny gift. 72 hours later, is blank still a priority for you, whatever outcome. So you'll be able to follow this and build on it, build your own, tailor fit this to match your offer, your personality. The questions in here, shift it to be questions that's relevant to your offer and what it is that you do. So let me shift this back into present. So that'll be available there. So I'm going to show you now. You were asking earlier, I don't remember who was that. Maybe Katiana. Yeah. So Katya. What was I using to track things? So I'm going to show you an app or a software that we use, our team uses, called Group Track. And this is a paid. I'll give you the link to start a free trial. It'll be uploaded into the members area. And then I'm going to show you also a free way through Google Calendar that you can use that I found is still really effective for making sure that you don't let any of your leads fall through the cracks. You know, when to follow up with them, who you followed up with, who you haven't, so you can stay on that. Let me go over to Group Track. If I can, hold on a second. Yeah, I'll click on this again. Here we go. So Group Track, this is what I use. What you guys will see is like, let's see if, so like pretty much probably all of you are in here. Like you're in here. So you're in my Impact Legacy coaching group. We have a conversation started. And if you kind of look in here, what it allows you to do is go through stages from stranger to whatever you're paying client. You're able to make these whatever you want them to be. So like you were new to the group at one point. I'm assuming that, okay, I invited you to the group. Yeah, so ultimately you're able to track people through and shift them through different phases. And let's say, who's a good example? I guess I can just go into any one. I'll go to, I don't know, Robin. So I don't know who this is, but they're probably gonna be pissed off when I send this message right now. So let's say they were a new friend right now, and I wanted to send an intro. It automatically, when I shift their stage, it has preloaded. You can take the things out of the script and preload them into the software. I'll show you how to do that. And it personalizes it. So right here it says, hey Robin, which is their first name. Yep, Robin. What's up? Thanks for connecting with me here in Facebook. Took a quick peek at your profile and I like what you have going on there. How's it going? Anyway, shoot me a message back when you get a chance. If I hit this, I'll do it. Hopefully they're not like, what? Because I don't know, we're probably in the middle of a conversation or something. What that does is it sent him a message. So if I go over to Messenger, intro sent. Okay, good. So I haven't spoken to him before. So it's like, hey, what's up? Blah, 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 blah. He's going to see this. I'm able to move really, really quickly. So I can come in here. I can change from here. So it's color coded. I can, sort. So I know who I'm talking to. These are tags. So I know where they are in the current journey. This is kind of like my workflow of what I do. I'll go to my profile. So I told you I send out about 20 friend requests at least a day. And when they accept my friend request, I go to recently added. And this is what you're able to do. You're able to come in, you add them to your CRM, click of a button, add. And then what I do is I make them a new friend. So they would be in the first stage, just for an example. I've added a bunch of friends today. I didn't actually take through the process yet. So they're a new friend. So let's say with this one, I wanted to send her an introduction intro. So yes, she's going to get this. This is her profile pops up, blah, 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 blah. So I can send her this. I would go down to new introduction message, new friends. Hey, Denise, what's up? This is this. It automatically is going to send that to her, and I know where she's at. So when my team goes in, we're able to do that. We're able to leave notes, so I can tag her. So she gets certain tags if she bought certain things, she did whatever, and it keeps a record of our conversation for our team to track. Or I can leave notes. So I'm able to track her. So if my team comes in, it shows who did it, what time they did it, what was said, what notes were left about her. She's also in my group. So she's new to the group. I have it set up so if I also She's new to the group. Hey, Denise, thanks for joining my Facebook group recently. I'm honored to have you part of the family there. And I would just follow up. So you kind of automate. I'm not going to send that. So just send the other one. So you kind of automate the process. It allows you to move faster. So it's like I could just jump in here, boom, go ahead and get everyone set up as far as like new friends, go through and bring them through the process. And then in contacts here, I can go through, I can filter it, and I can just find all new friends. And I can literally go through and just talk to my new friends. Or I can go to conversation started, or whatever you've labeled yours as to help. Let me see, convo started. So then this is everyone I'm in current conversation. So I wanted to pick back up the conversation. I can go there. I can go straight to the profile. And then I can leave notes. I can just open up Messenger directly, or I can just have conversations with them. So hope that's making sense. This is where you can add new ones. So I have all of these preloaded, so my team can just come in and do that, or I can just come in and do it. You're able to create your different stages. You're able to connect with your email autoresponder. So as people become your friends and they request to join your group, it automatically collects their email and starts the email sequences, autoresponder sequences, to go out to that person to start building the relationship through email while you're doing it through here. Yeah. So let's see if you guys have any questions. I'm going to show you the Google Calendar freeway. Denise, this is me. Hey, Denise. All right. So yeah. Let's see. So with Google Calendar, any questions about Group Track so far? If I were here in the group, it shows up beside your name. It shows you right where you're at. So like people are commenting here. I can add them. So it'll show their stage. So this person's new to the group. So as you're going through and you're commenting, I can see where you are. So this person, Denise, there you are again. So group temp check and welcoming for the group. So I have stages inside the group. My team is able to come in here and we're able to collaborate back and forth and do those kind of things. So let's see if I have any questions about Group Track. No? All right, so I'm gonna go on to Google Calendar. So this is what you can do here. I don't use this anymore because I use the actual software, but sometimes I do. Like I have here, someone's making a payment, or they were making a payment on the 18th. So this is what you can do. As you're having conversations with people, right? Up here at the top, if you don't click and make it an actual thing, you can, let's say on the 15th, I was talking to someone and they were like, oh yeah, can you hit me back on Tuesday and let's talk again then. I'm going to be busy until then. It's like, okay, follow up with Billy Bob. I don't know, whatever his name. And then I can add that there. So I'll know this is when I need to follow up with Billy Bob on the 15th. Or 2 weeks from now, he's like, I'm not ready right now. Can we check back on maybe like January 3rd? That's when I really want to start getting things going. Guess what you can do? Go over to January 3rd and say, follow up with whoever, or accept payments, or blah, blah, blah. And you can do as many of these as you want. So let me go back. So if I wanted to make another one, somebody else is the same follow-up, I don't know, personal thing. Remember I needed to walk the dog, I don't know, anything. You're able to follow up and it's gonna stay up above. No matter how you scroll it, it gives you those reminders. So you don't have to hold these things in your mind. Sometimes you can almost seem like superhuman or like you never forget anything just because you're not trying to hold all this on like spreadsheets and notepads or try to, even worse, like try to remember it off the top of your head. You're able to just, while you're in the moment, so let's say you're talking to someone and you got to an impasse, like, you know what, I want to follow them again on Thursday and see how their interview went. They said they're going to apply for this job, a new credit card, and I'm going to follow up on Friday to see how it went. Leave that event for yourself so then you'll know to check back up, or you know to do that thing. And this is also really, really effective. And you're able to come in here and you can leave yourself notes. You know, you can, hey, he had to blah, 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 and you can keep updating yourself. So when you follow with Billy Bob, put the date and the time right beside it, and you'll see the notes that you made. You'll see what it's all about. When you hover over it, it has it here. So it keeps an update of like what's going on with these people, where they at. You can also move it around if you, I need to do this tomorrow instead of today. Guess what happens? Now you can do it tomorrow. So that should help you with some of that. Hopefully it did. Let me know if there's still some questions there. And then once again, this is the whole portion of this is one piece of the puzzle. What I've shown you today is the one piece, and ultimately there is a full structure that you need, from offer generation to lead generation, along with the sales, along with the mindset, to end up creating the 3 key pieces to create a successful life. Not just the money, like you're a 6-figure coach, but you also have impact. You also have freedom. You also are fulfilled. You're avoiding burnout, and you're prosperous. I saw somebody pop in here. Let's see. Where do we find the scripts? So Stephanie, I'm going to be putting the scripts inside of the membership area. When I upload the replay, it's going to be in there, probably right below one of the videos. And you'll be able to just click on that and go straight to the file and make a copy. And I'll make a separate video to give you instructions of how to do that. Okay, so yeah, so here are the next steps. Everything we've learned up until this point, you've learned the 5-step process, the framework. We learned how to objection handle, doctor frame. You've learned all these different things. So what's left now? Step 1. Schedule your clarity call session with one of our coaching advisors. What we're going to do is help you build out a roadmap. So like I said, this is just one piece of the puzzle, your messenger conversations, to get you to those 6 or multiple 6 figures per year. And the way that you can schedule one of those calls is going to www.impactlegacycoaching.com/apply. Step 2, if you got value out of this training, I really hope you got value out of this training and got some clarity on sales. What I want you to do is leave a testimonial inside the Impact Legacy Coaching Group, telling like how amazing you felt, like what was the result of this. And as you go out and you implement and you get results, I want you to share your results there. Like, hey, amazing training. Like this is what happened. This is what I benefit. This is the result of it. What I'll do is I'll send you over some private client training on deposits. So if you ever wonder, like, okay, when do I delay a sale and not push for them to close and get the money? Or when do I ask for a deposit to make sure that I'm filtering out people who are just pretending that they got some event going on and maybe they didn't get paid, between the people who are serious? When do I ask for a deposit and when do I hold off? I'll send you that over as a thank you, just for posting a testimonial from whatever you felt you got out of this training, and whatever impact you felt that it made, or whatever clarity it may have given you, and whatever results you get out of it. And then step 3 is go out and implement what you've learned. Even if you have to go back and watch this replay a few times, take notes and go out and implement. Implement. Action is what's going to create momentum, certainty, and results. So in the replay, probably going to take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours, but within 48 hours, it should be up. And what I'll do is I'll drop a message in the support chat when it's finally finished and uploaded. And you guys can ask questions in there. I want that to be actual support community where we're all giving input, we're all encouraging each other, asking questions if you need to, and I'll be supporting you in there over the next 30 days as you implement, you go out and put into action what you've learned. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this up for Q&A. So let's see. Awesome as always, very helpful. Do you have a sales page to use this method. I have 6 pages, 6 pages of notes. Wow, James, I know your fingers are on fire. So see, what do you mean, Stephanie? So you guys, if you have a question, just unmute your mic and just ask me.
Okay, sorry. My question is, you were leading people to a sales page to close where they could make payment. Is that necessary to use the method that you're using? See, I don't have a sales page. I do have Stripe, but how would you take payment when somebody says, yes, I want in, if you don't have a sales page, a link to send them to?
Right. So the link that I was sending people to was a private YouTube video that explained my offer. It's a video of me explaining what's in the offer and kind of like a VSL, video sales letter. And then yeah, there was after that, once they say they're in, I would send them to an order page, but you don't need to do that. If you use Stripe or you use PayPal, both are free. If you use either one of those, there are options in there where if they give you their email address, their name and their email address, you can go into Stripe, create a product, and send an invoice to their email. And what they can do is click on the link and pay directly, or you could do the same thing inside of PayPal.
Okay, yeah, I've done that before. Okay.
Right, so you can just ask them like, okay, awesome, you're in. So what's your email address? And I'll go ahead and send the invoice over to you.
Perfect.
And once you get that, go ahead and take care of that and message me back so I can verify it on my end and get you started. And then
Okay.
There you go.
Perfect.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Let's see, I see something in chat here. I got a lot of people after I sent my intro asking me straight away, okay, what do you want to sell me? What do I answer? So Roman, can you unmute your mic? Let's talk. Hello, Roman. I'll try. Okay, there you go. So,
yeah.
When you first message people, what are you saying to them?
I basically just send an intro video, just introducing myself, where I live, a little bit about my family, and that I'm an online entrepreneur and nice to connect. That's basically that's a short video I'm sending basically. And then most time straight away I get back, okay, what you selling, dude? Is it because have the wrong friends I'm inviting, or I just don't know what to answer then?
Yeah,
So
so
just
that's going to be a little hard for me to know unless I see the video, because it might be something that in the actual video that's creating some type of buyer resistance. Because that's kind of odd if you're only saying like, hey, thanks for connecting with me on Facebook. I have a family, I have kids, love to learn a little bit about you. Look forward to hearing from you. And then they're like, what are you selling? I'd be a little bit like, wait, what do you mean? I would think something's wrong with them. So it's like if you're consistently, if like only 1 or 2 people said that, okay, maybe. But if it's like you're consistently getting people saying that, it's probably something with your video that's causing them to feel like it feels salesy.
Okay. Hold on. Can I send it to you? It's only 30 seconds. Can I drop
Okay,
it
yeah.
in here?
Well, do me a favor, drop it into the support chat.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah, and then I'll support you there. We'll finish that inside of there. I'll give you some feedback from your video. But I think I have a feeling that's probably what it is. If it's consistently that reaction to that video, it's most likely something in that video makes them raises their buyer resistance, like their flags go off. They're like, oh, this guy's selling something.
Okay. Good. I will do that. Thank you.
No problem.
So I have a question, Tyga.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, Christy.
Hi. So my question is, I have some clarity now on like making the connection. I've been having some struggles with that. But I also have been toying around the idea of doing a small like mini course, like a small offer around the $97 range. To try to get some people to the phone, basically like almost what you're doing here, to try to get some traction, to get some calls. I'm kind of wondering if you feel like that's a good course of action or if that's moving a little too far away from my main offer.
I mean, it's always a good idea because one of the beauties of having a low ticket offer isn't so much like the money that you make on the front end. It's qualifying buyers and building a whole bunch of value and goodwill with people. It's like you give people wins up front, so it makes sense for them to take the next step with you.
Right.
You get what I mean?
Okay.
So-
Yeah. This seems like after I've done, a lot of like research, this seems like the most A to B strategy. Like they need something smaller to get to the phone. Like there's just too much resistance to do it like the regular way because I'm in like the mental health field. So
Mhm.
I feel like if I were to throw a little teaser out there, it helps, put me in more of an expert role, and that might help. I just wanted to make sure that wasn't going too far like off base from the main offer. But what I want to do is put a small chunk of the main offer, basically, like a teaser.
What I would do, I wouldn't launch anything like pre-recorded. I would do exactly like what I'm showing you.
What
Like,
you're doing.
I like never create things before people have given you money for it.
Right.
Like, you get what I mean?
Yeah. I was
so-
basically going to launch it and say, this is what I have to offer. Are you interested? And then kind of see where the field's at. If they want that offer specifically, then make it. If they don't and they want something a little bit different, then figure it out and make that.
Yeah. And yeah, it's going to come down to testing, seeing what they want, making the offer to them. I use the analogy of your ideal client. We call her Sally. Sally's sitting at a bus station across the street. You could either like stand across the street, like doing equations and going, I wonder what Sally wants. And you're doing all these things and making all this stuff. And you walk over and you're like, Eureka, Sally, I got exactly what you want. This is what it is. And she's like, what is that? I don't want that. Why would you think I wanted that? Get away from me. You're weird. And you walk back across the street. You're like, crap. Okay, now I really got to figure out what Sally wants. And you try to process again. Sadly, that's how a lot of entrepreneurs or new coaches go about it. But the better way is just to walk over to Sally across the street and go, Sally, what do you want? And Sally goes, well, what would be really nice if I had blah, 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 this, and that. Okay, cool. And then you walk back across the street, make exactly what Sally said she wanted, and come back over and say, hey, Sally, I got this amazing thing I think you'd be interested in. What is it? It's this, and this. Whoa, that's exactly what I want. Oh my God, I've been waiting for something like this. And then you're like, well, here it is. And now you get it. So like, this is a product of that, where it's like, what are you guys struggling with? Getting clients. Well, how so? Sales. I don't know how to like get people onto the phones. I don't get how to get them to buy my thing. So, okay. Put it together. Hey, I have exactly what you want to help you get the results that you want. I give it to you. Then you're like, awesome. This is exactly what I needed. How did you know? Because you told me. And you want to do the same thing with your clients.
Awesome. Yeah, I pretty much already. I mean, I said, pretty much put feelers out, and people want to know how I reduce anxiety. And I said, if I put that in a course, would you be interested? And I've got people ready. So I'll just do it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep me updated. Like post inside of the support chat. Let us know.
Yeah, I will for sure.
Okay. Anybody else? Don't be shy, because when we get off here, you'll be like, I wish I would have asked them this. This is the time.
Hello. Oh, hello.
Hey, Denise. Thanks for being my example earlier.
I said I must look that different. Look.
I'm not wearing my glasses also, so.
That's all right. But quick question. Maybe you can help me with this little, I guess maybe a limiting belief for me. One of the things that I see, like yourself and other people, most people are selling other products to coaches or people that are looking to start a business. And what I want to be teaching about is actually finding purpose. And what I'm asking is, what I find is that a lot of people want that end goal of how do I create more money? And I'm trying to see how I can actually combine the passion, the purpose, passion, to how do they create and actually create more money also. And I'm just, I guess I'm not phrasing my question correctly. I'm finding that the people I'm coming across are really, their end result is that they really want to make more money.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm making sense right now.
Okay. So their end result, they want to make more money. Their current pain is that they're struggling in their business or their job, or like who are you targeting? Is it entrepreneurs?
Basically, okay, let me tell you that first. My target market is going to be women between 45 and 55, pretty much, going through that midlife crisis, really wanting to say, I don't know what to do with my life. I'm hitting a brick wall right now. Confidence is down, our bodies are changing, our minds are changing, and trying to really dig deep inside and let them find what their true passion is that they want to create. And with that being said, I'm saying most of the time it's always tied to the end result of how much money can I also increase. I know that goes along with the confidence and the self-worth. When they start to build that, then they also want to build the money. But I'm having a hard time linking those two together is what I'm saying.
Okay. It sounds like you almost really expressed it. So it's like if they understand, if your offer, if you can show how your offer links to where the way their current paradigm is structured right now is actually the barrier that's keeping them from reaching at other levels of success, of prosperity, then they would see why that would make them money. A good person who really does this well is Bob Proctor. Have you ever checked out any of his content? That is
Not in a while. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's literally exactly what he does. I would go in and like see what pain points he focuses on, how he positions his offer, because his is like a paradigm shift. So it's like the way we see the world is what governs our actions. Our actions are what governs our results and the way the world reflects back to us. And his offer, his coach, he charges an arm and a leg for his stuff too as well. And it helps you tear down certain limiting beliefs, certain paradigms in order to rebuild them and build up your wealth mindset, your relationship with money. So those kind of angles as well, like helping people go, because a lot of people haven't realized that they have limiting beliefs with money. They have negative relationships with money, and they're like, I don't know how to break that. Right. So it's like one thing could be your offer helps them break those limiting beliefs so that they're able to step in with confidence, knowing exactly what they do, what they provide, their life purpose, and how to monetize it. Through this new paradigm, this new way of seeing themselves and opportunity around them. Hopefully that helps a little bit. We need to dive like a lot deeper into things.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it did though. It did. It opened up just a little bit. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more expansion there.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Any other?
I do. So now I just a quick question. So earlier you were talking about, I guess really, because a lot of the groups that I'm in are all like coaching groups that are people like me who are looking to start their business. So the best way for me is to really go out and find those groups of women who are, I don't want to say in a state of depression, but think people who are probably wanting to lose weight. You're saying to get in other groups like that and then start to friend those people and then be able to offer what you have and build relationships there.
I think once you get crystal clear on exactly who you serve, it's going to make it really evident where to find them. Because if you know, like, so when I say who you serve, I'm not just necessarily meaning like demographics, like it's white women age 30 to 35, live in Nebraska, has 2 dogs and a husband. But I see niches, or the most effective way to see niches as pains. So you're looking at what pain point, like what pain are they in? And then some of the demographics are mapped around it, depending on who you truly want to serve with that pain point. And then once you know, it's like, okay, so this person has a feeling, you understand like what humiliates them, what keeps them up at night, what do they complain to their friends and family about, what are they always worrying about, what do they really want? And you're able to pick up on the conversation they're already having in their own head. You're able to go, okay, if I were that person, this is what I'd be typing into YouTube. This would be the blogs I'd be reading. this would be the podcast that I'd be subscribing to. This would be the Facebook groups I'd be joining. So then you could simply just go to those places. And if you know influencers or gurus in the space who are already serving those people successfully, you can go join those communities. And guess what? They already did the work of gathering your herd together. Your tribe is mixed in somewhere in that group, you know, that swarm of people. And all you need to do is show up, give value, connect with them, and pull them into this process.
Okay. If no one else has a question, I have another one, but go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. No, when you say niche it down, because this is a flip to that. Most people tell you, you know, we go from the demographics, what age. I mean, and yes, I've done the pain points, but no one actually, are you saying to go just target on one specific pain point or to niche down that deep?
So here are the 4 alignment questions I'll give you. So one is like, okay, who is it that you're 100% passionate about serving? Like you would serve them for free if it came down to like, I love these people. The second alignment question is, what is the big, heavy boulder on their back? That big, hairy problem? What's the rock in their shoe that they are both willing and able to pay money to have solved? That's question number 2. Question number 3, what do you 100% love doing? Now, if the answer to question number 3 doesn't align with the answer to question number 2, you need to pick a different number 1. Hopefully that made sense. So if the thing you love doing doesn't align with the big problem that person wants solved, like you don't like actually solving that big problem that they're both willing and able to pay to solve, you need to pick another group of people that you're 100% passionate to work for. So you would go down to your second most passionate group. So who are they? Then what are their big, heavy problem they're both willing and able to pay to have solved? And then what do I really love to do? Do I love solving that problem? And then the 4th alignment question is, what am I actually really like the best at doing? Like, what am I really good at doing? And don't worry if you aren't super good at it right now, because if you immerse yourself, like we humans are amazing that way, you immerse yourself into something in a matter of weeks, you become more skillful in that than like 80-90% of the rest of the world's population. And you only need to be a few steps ahead of someone in order to be able to help them. You know, like 5th graders are like gods to kindergartners. You know, like, I don't know if you remember back being in kindergarten, coming out of the cafeteria, the 5th graders are lining up. And you're like, whoa, those people are cool. Like, I can't wait to be a 5th grader one day. You know, so it's the same thing.
Thank you. That made a lot of sense. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more? I mean, you got me right here.
Yeah, you know, I think I have a question.
Okay. Hey, LeTroy.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
The question is, how much of this process of creating what we want for this business that we want to do is actually our own process of getting over all these paradigms, and how much of it has been the business that you've learned through what you're teaching? So how much of it is you getting over your own stuff to be able to do the business stuff, or is it, what does that ratio kind of look like?
I'm a little bit, I don't know if I 100% understand. So you're asking my personal journey, what's the ratio of like,
so I could say maybe more or less like, how did you get to where you're at now? How much of it was you developing your own, breaking your own paradigms to actually get to the business stuff? Was it more business or was it more personal process to get to that?
Right. So, I mean, they obviously go hand in hand. Like the techniques are really important. Without them, you know, the machine doesn't work. But I'd say a big chunk of it is mindset, because like I think I was using an analogy earlier of like, let's say if you were training a soldier, you know, to fight, his marksmanship, how to shoot this weapon like a rifle. He's shooting it well. He's hitting the bullseye, and then you take him to combat or you take him to the field, and now it's time for him to defend his position. And his mindset is like, I'm afraid. I don't know how. I don't have the courage to fight. I just want to hide. It doesn't matter how well he shoots the gun, because he's not going to actually use any of the skills because he's afraid to. So if you learn all these techniques, but you have an identity problem, or a person has an identity problem where they're like, I don't feel like I'm worthy of success, or I'm afraid someone's going to reject me. You'll never go out and use all these skills that you learn, and it'll show up in constant learning phase. You see some people that buy like course after course after course. They watch YouTube video after YouTube video. They're in constant state of learning, but they don't go out and implement. Yeah, and that's the determining factor. With my case, I've spent probably around $100,000 in like trainings and courses and programs and coaching, and it wasn't until I see Denise to raise her hand. She can relate. It wasn't until I went, wait, I need to do this. That's what caused it. So then I started implementing, but the barrier between me learning and doing was a lot of like self-image. I had to get over the fear of like rejection, or I wouldn't be able to sit on here and talk to you guys. I'm like, well, what if they don't like what I'm saying? What if I say the wrong thing? What if, and then I'm like, well, I'm not doing it. I would never have made the first post. I would have never, I would have never been able to do it just because I would have gotten my own way. It's called self-sabotage. And our paradigms, so Denise has a really powerful transformation she can provide for people, because that's what trips a lot of entrepreneurs up. They spend tons of money learning the techniques, but then their own paradigm destroys them. And it holds them running in the circle. It's like a dog chasing his tail. And then, so I'd say like 80% of it. So that's one of the things I work with my clients well, is breaking limiting money beliefs, and it's just building out these routines and systems to shift your paradigms, correct your relationships with money, shift your self-identity, because the way you see you is the way you're going to be. You know what I mean? The way you're going to present yourself.
That was great. Thank you. That helped clarify some things. So thank you, Tiger.
Okay, I'm glad. I see a few comments popped up. What Katiana says, what does a day in the life of Tiger look like in terms of generating leads, interacting and selling? When you started scaling, did you employ, i.e. closers, VAs? So oh my goodness, a day in the life of Tiger. Man, my life is a little odd because I'm in the Philippines. So even right now, it's 1:42 a.m. So my schedule is usually backwards, and I also have a pregnant wife and a daughter. So I spend time with them. I'm working on the business. I'm training employees. Let's see what else you're asking. When you started scaling, who did you employ, i.e. closers? So yeah, I use what's called a setter and a closer. You might see them in the group. They go in, they do a lot of what I was teaching you here. Like they respond, they comment, they get into conversations with the ideal client from the group and from targeted groups. And they walk them through this process, and they sell them, or they set calls onto the closer's calendar so that they can take them onto a call, or they'll sell right through chat. So if it's an offer that's $2,000 or below, I have a system set up. I mean, you saw the links in that chat script. I literally use this. Like I eat my own dog food. Like the stuff I'm showing you is actually what I'm using to make the money that I'm making. So I'm showing you like the real stuff. Those conversations I showed you are real conversations of people who are in my program, like right now, people who have really bought from me. And yeah, my closers and setters are using the same process. As far as like the higher ticket things, 2,000 above, I have a whole system for phone closing that we use. And like I said, there's a lot of moving pieces, and a lot of those things, obviously I can't cover in just like a quick masterclass like this, we usually go deep over time, especially like if we're able to have a longer term relationship. Those are a lot of things that I help people put in place to scale you up to those 10K, 20K and beyond months. So you mentioned 20 a day. Is that a starting point or an end game as well? So I set certain standards. I call them like hygiene standards. So it's like, I call it, what is it? I say attribution. So if I start doing something, I see business as like a box, like a black box. I have inputs, I have outputs. So if I input a certain action, I'll measure everything, I'll keep a record of it and see what comes out on the other end. So if I know if I want what's coming out on the other end to be different, I know the only way to do that is change what's going into it. You know what I mean? Because once I've set up the box does the same thing. My frameworks are what I'm teaching you here. The framework is the framework, but my inputs can vary, which would vary my outputs. And there's a lot of inputs from like my own mindset, my health. If I don't get enough sleep, then my inputs are going to be less valuable, which means my outputs are going to be affected. If my closers are not in the right mindset, or they're, you know what I mean? Yeah, okay, got it. So got it, depending on the results we get. Love that as a gauge. Okay, awesome. Any more questions? I want to make sure, like, I absolutely love coaching. I love impacting and serving people whose purpose in life is serving people, who's impacting the lives of others. So you guys have any questions?
I do. Denise again.
Awesome. I love it.
When you first started, were you working just doing this business, or did you have another job at that time? And if you did, how did you organize your day to be productive in both?
Okay, so actually, I can kind of go over some of that right now. I'm glad you asked that. So let me skip through this. So June 2016, actually, I gave away everything I owned. I was stressed. I was in a toxic relationship, going through a breakup, pretty much hated life and depressed. I look a lot different here. This isn't my place. This is a guy, I went there, I gave away everything I owned. So I gave him some of my stuff. I gave him money as I was leaving out, and I was playing, this is his guitar in his place. I didn't upload the picture of him, but this was right when that process was happening. This is like some memorables, like when my kids and I went to Disney World. I gave all of this stuff away. Like I had awards from the military, everything. And I went out on like a spiritual journey. It's a weird kind of story. I ended up having a odd vision, a really realistic vision. It seemed more real than this. I felt like I fell asleep to come back to this reality. And in the vision, I was told to give away everything I owned and kind of like go out on like a faith kind of journey, a faith walk. And I thought it was completely nuts. And I was like, nope, not doing that. That was insane and terrifying. And I'd say fast forward like maybe a week later, I had kind of like this kind of, it's not a voice, but like an urge, like a feeling, like a knowing to go to this park that was kind of near my house during the middle of the summer, almost dead heat of South Carolina summer. And I went there, and there was an older woman there in older black woman in a truck, like steaming hot, just sitting in the parking lot. Just me and her in the parking lot. Nobody else is there. I pulled up right beside her, felt the voice, the feeling tell me to tell this woman whatever she was going through was over. And once again, I was like, nope, that's crazy. I'm not about to do this. This is what we're going to think I'm nuts. So I ended up getting out. I actually went with one of my daughters to the park. She didn't really know why we were going there, but I had to play it off. So we walked inside the little gate, and there was a picnic table, and there was like a track at the park. It's so hot, and there's no shade over this track. And I was telling my daughter, we're about to go for a run. It's like the middle of the afternoon. I'm like, yeah, stretching out. I'm talking to her about like muscles and like why we need to stretch and how to muscle. I'm just trying not to seem completely bonkers to my daughter. And she's sitting there like, what are we doing? And I'm like, why are we here? And the woman, I heard the engine of her truck start. And it was like a feeling of like, if that woman leaves without me telling her what I was like, my life, my future, everything was leaving with her. And before I even realized it, I was in a dead sprint. Before this woman could go anywhere, I arrived at her window, out of breath, probably seemed completely out of my mind. And I was like, wait, you probably don't know me. I promise I'm not crazy. But I was like, God told me to tell you whatever you're going through is over. And she ended up, so she had a scarf on her head, older Black woman. She ended up opening the door of her truck, moved back, and she got out, started speaking in tongues. Like, if you know what that is. If not, that's like, okay. So she started speaking in tongues. I fell to the ground. I did too. Never spoken in my life. So I was a physics major, to kind of give you an idea of like my perspective on life, my paradigm of the world at the time. So I didn't never speak in tongues. I didn't never do any of that stuff, whatever. But I started, and my daughter finally made her way over right when it was ending. And she was looking at me like, I could see out of my peripherals, and she was looking at me like, what in the world? And, but this woman, she then began to tell me about my life. She started telling me about when I was a kid. She was like, you know, she's like, that 12-year-old kid with a gray sweatshirt riding his bike up and down a dirt road right in front of his house. Like, she's like, God didn't forget about him. And she started telling me this. It gives me goosebumps.
Chills.
Right. She started telling me all about like my life. And she started telling me that, she said, you're going to end up in the Philippines. She said, you're going to be doing something with computers. You're going to be on a computer. She said, you're going to be a millionaire. She said, you're going to donate, she said, millions of dollars to St. Jude's Hospital. She said, all these crazy stuff. You're going to be married to a Filipina. And I'm just sitting there like, what? Like blown away. And then she said the thing that changed my life. She said, and what you need to do is give away everything that you own, and you need to go out on faith. And like I said, I'm trying not to get emotional now, because I mean, I'm here. But and that sealed the deal for me, or else, you know, this would never happen. I ended up really giving away everything I owned. I went out on like a faith walk. I ended up in the Philippines, sure enough. Ended up broke in the Philippine jungle. Like, this guy actually took me in. He made about $80 a month back-breaking work, and pretty much supported me. It was helping me through that. I got to the point where I was like, you know, I'm like, I'm supposed to be on this journey. I gave away everything. I went out helping people. I traveled up and down the U.S. for a while. Ended up in the Philippines. Long story there. I've already held you guys for so long, but anyway. But eventually, I set a goal. I was like, I'm going to establish myself. I'm going to find what my purpose is. And you know, my purpose, I felt, was always like to help people find their purpose and help them bring out their gifts. And, you know, I ended up accomplishing that. You know, I'm still on the journey. I'm not at the end point of where I would like to be, or where I think I'm headed. But, you know, I made my first money online. I started an e-commerce store. I had gotten to the point where I was down to, I think it was like my last one or two cans of like beans, and the people, there was an empty lot next door, and they had free range chickens inside, or walking around in there. And I remember getting to the point, I guess I didn't bring this up, my aunt, who was actually my cousin, got adopted by my grandparents. We ended up connected. She had a parallel experience. She was in Atlanta, but we ended up connected, and we both were in the Philippines. I documented this on another Facebook page. I can share that at some point with you guys. But anyway, she was there, I was there, and I remember like telling her, like, look, if something doesn't happen by like tomorrow, I was like, 'cause I could hear the chickens, and I was like, it made sense then, but in my mind, I was so desperate and so hungry and so, you know, in that state, that I was like, I'm gonna go chase down these people's chicken and kill it and eat it. I'm like, we're feasting like kings and queens tomorrow if something doesn't happen. And I opened up a Shopify store, and that's what I had used my last bit of money to do that, off of that same type of feeling or whatever. Seemed crazy at the time, but yeah, I ended up making 5K. And, you know, I started like pulling myself out of it. I ended up starting into what's called affiliate marketing. I came into affiliate, if you know what that is, it's like promoting and selling other people's products and courses or whatever. I ended up doing really well. I joined up under a mentor, and I had my first month, I made 10K. And yeah, people started coming to me for help. Like some of these people are on the call with me right now. So like some people started coming to me for help. Like some people picked up on this part of my journey. Like I met them through that program, and people were coming to me for help. I started helping them, help people start making their first money. So I kind of fell into coaching on accident. So I ended up taking over his coaching program. He moved to the Philippines. I was in a different city in the Philippines, and we both ended up here in Cebu. I ended up finding out, everything happens for a reason, but I ended up finding he wasn't exactly who he said he was. And he had a lot of different kind of shady stuff. Once I got behind the curtain, I was like, whoa, we kind of didn't mesh. I went my own way. I became an advisor for Traffic and Funnels. If you ever heard of them, they're a multiple 8-figure company that caters to coaches and consultants. But yeah, the Traffic and Funnels is the name. If you ever want to look them up, that's who it is. So I became an advisor for them. I'm doing what I'm doing now. I was helping people that are looking to get to 6 figures, 7 figures, and 8 figures, find the missing pieces in their business, put together a plan to actually get there, close sales calls and those kind of things. And I remember closing. So I had made 10K in a month. That was like I think I had gotten up to 20K in a month with affiliate marketing before I shifted over into this advisor role. And I remember closing my first $10,000 sale. And I was like, oh my God, like I have a skill. Like, wait a minute. And I realized because they don't give you $10,000
right
when you close a $10,000 sale. And I started thinking to myself, I was like, wait a minute, why am I doing all of this to make them rich? And like, so I ended up branching out on my own. And, I started my own coaching program and started focusing 100% of my time and my attention on my own clients, shift over, instead of 10K, 20K months, I ended up having my first 15K week. And, I was like, whoa. So I'm like, I'm gonna see where I'm gonna take this. I started creating a life of freedom, and I got a bunch of big projects in the works. Some different moves I've even made, even this past week, that are on the horizon. So that's kind of where I am. I kind of skipped over a few of my people. Rachel, I think she might have been on the call, might have not today, but you probably see her around the group and probably see some things from her. But brand strategist, she had like shiny object syndrome. She wasn't really making money online, buying a bunch of programs, doing a lot of things, really had a lot of limiting money beliefs, a lot of different mindset things. We worked together, and she was ecstatic. She ended up having 5K sales, I think like 5K a week and a 3K day. And it just completely shattered her idea of like, oh my God, I thought this was like for all these other people, but this happened to me now. This is real to me. We got her really clear on who she served. And, her group was only 127 members. And, she's pulling thousands of dollars out of it. So we worked together for a few weeks. And then, Andy Mattis, you probably see him around, helped him. He's an affiliate marketer, or he was an affiliate marketer when he came to me. I helped him to put together an affiliate marketing program, teaching people how to start affiliate marketing, got him a high ticket offer, taught him selling strategies and coaching with him. So he built out a team of affiliates. He launched, had a 6K week. He has a paid course now and a paid group, and he's doing well. So those are my why me's. Who am I? Hopefully that answered your question. That's also a few comments.
No, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That is that actually just gave me more insight into you, so that's awesome. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Oh, my cousin's on here. Absolutely true. I witnessed everything. Yeah, I visited him whenever I gave away everything, and everybody was like, did he lose his marbles? Like, what is he doing right now? Like, I'm sure everybody was looking at me like, but you gave away everything for what? But yeah, he was there. I remember talking to him, and still throughout the journey, we communicated after I was here for a bit. I tried a bunch of different things. I started a studio. So I hired videographers and photographers. We tried that for a while. I did several different things on this journey leading up to it. Lee Troy says, thank you for asking that question. and for you honestly answering this, Tiger, because it's exactly what I needed to hear. Wow, I died 3 years ago and was given clarification on how today's information will be the next puzzle piece. Thank you, group. Katiana says, wow, God is good. Yes, yes, he is. I never knew you. Okay, yes, he is. But you said, I never knew your journey, and I don't have on my glasses, so it's like I'm trying to catch the words as they're dancing around the page. So it's like I knew your journey. I never knew your journey and had the strong sense I had to reach out to you for help in my business. Awesome. Stephanie says me too. Yeah. So yeah, that's me. I appreciate you guys and gals for your time. I really hope that I served you. Inside of the chat, if you still have any questions that pop up, we got 30 days. I'll be supporting you in there as you're implementing this. Tremaine, my cousin, says awesome. But yeah, I look forward to growing with you all, growing myself. I really appreciate your support. It means the world to me. I definitely want to support you guys in any way that I can. And yeah, let's make 2021 like the most pivotal. Let's create a movement. Like let's completely start a wave that ripples out to all coasts. Like we have some people on all parts of the world right now on this call, and we're going to touch different lives. And that's what makes me passionate about this, is because I know that helping people who help people, it allows me to reach places I would never be able to on my own, because you guys are there. So it's my bit of creating a life that outlives me. So Katiana says, let's do this. Yes, let's do this. So, all right, with that, I guess I'm signing off, and going to make this this replay available, like I said, within the next 24 to 48 hours, and see you around.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.